The day before the college entrance exam, the class beauty Su Nianqing was criticized by the homeroom teacher and incited the whole class to hand in blank answer sheets to retaliate against the teacher. Wu Han, the sports committee member and the #1 admirer of the class beauty, was the first to respond and take the lead. As the academic committee member, I felt it was my responsibility to stop everyone, so I stayed up late contacting the parents of my classmates to ensure they would appear at the exam hall on time. They all achieved good scores, and their parents were very satisfied, lining up in the class group chat to thank me. But after the college entrance exam ended, the class beauty with poor grades jumped off a building. After the class beauty's memorial service, my classmates lured me to a remote reservoir, pushed me into the water, and drowned me. They said, "It's all my fault for reporting it, otherwise, if everyone had skipped the exam with the class beauty, she wouldn't have died." When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day before the college entrance exam, the moment the class beauty said she was going to abandon the exam. "This time, I won't stop you. I'll watch you reap what you've sown and ruin your own lives. If you want to skip the exam, go ahead, but I won't skip it." With the memories of my past life's college entrance exam questions, it's like having an open book exam. Without any surprise, I ranked first in the entire province and got admitted to Tsinghua University. "Shen Yanqing, why did you betray us? Why did you ruin everything for us?" Cold water poured into my mouth and nose, my lungs burning as if set on fire. I struggled desperately, but my hands were firmly pinned down, and someone was pressing down on my back, forcing me underwater. "It's all because of you. Nianqing only jumped because of you, you traitor. Go to hell." My last conscious thought was of the blurred daylight on the water's surface and the distorted faces of those people, Wu Han, Chen Jingrui, and them. I died, pushed into the reservoir and drowned alive. Why? Because I stopped them from collectively skipping the exam, because I contacted the parents and pulled their children back from the edge of the cliff, because I helped them get into college and have a promising future. Is that why they killed me? No, they killed me because they needed a scapegoat. Su Nianqing jumped off a building, and they couldn't accept that they were the ones who drove her to it, so they needed a sinner, and I am the most suitable target. How laughable. Shen Yanqing, have been kind to others all my life, yet in the end, I died at the hands of the very person I desperately tried to save. The feeling of water flooding into my lungs was excruciating, but what hurt even more was the deep, bone-chilling despair. I closed my eyes, my body sinking deeper and deeper. I thought this was the end for me. Yanqing, wake up, it's the day before the college entrance exam, the last day of school, don't be late. I suddenly opened my eyes, the glaring sunlight streamed in through the window, and my mother's voice exploded outside the door. I looked down at my hands, white, intact, living hands. I picked up the phone on the bedside table. June 5, 2019, the day before the college entrance exam. I was reborn. I sat on the edge of the bed, taking several minutes to calm myself down. Messages kept popping up on the phone screen, one after another, from the class group chat. "Today's the last day of class. I'm so nervous. Everyone, do your best. Nianqing, what are you wearing today? I need to take a good look. I won't get to see it anymore. Woo-woo, it's like this again." It was the same in my previous life. Everyone was fawning over Su Nianqing, treating her like a goddess. Su Nianqing, the class beauty, looks pure and lovely, with almond-shaped eyes that always seem to shimmer with tears. She speaks softly and gently, and when she smiles, 2 shallow dimples appear at the corners of her mouth. Everyone thinks she's an angel, only I know that she is a demon disguised as an angel. In my previous life, it was her who, after being criticized by the homeroom teacher, cried pitifully and incited the entire class to skip the exam, saying she wanted to make that old woman regret it for the rest of her life. Wu Han was the first to stand up in support, and others quickly followed suit. I tried to stop them, but ended up being scolded for not understanding human relationships and lacking a sense of collective honor. That night, I stayed up all night, contacting each classmate's parents one by one, informing them that their children would be collectively absent from the exam. The next day, the parents showed up right on time at the entrance of the examination hall, dragging their children inside. Those classmates all ended up doing quite well on the exam, but Su Nianqing, although her parents brought her to school, hid in the restroom and didn't enter the examination hall. The day the results came out, she got 0 points. She broke down. In her suicide note, she wrote, "I thought we were a team, I thought we would bear it together, but you betrayed me. You all went to take the exam, only I was absent. You made me feel like a fool." She jumped off a building. At the memorial service, everyone cried very sadly. After the memorial service, Wu Han sent a message in the group chat, at 7 o'clock tonight, at the East City Reservoir, we need to discuss something. I went, and then, I never came back. When they pushed me into the water, Wu Han said, it's all because of your betrayal, otherwise everyone would have stayed with Nianqing to skip the exam. Nianqing wouldn't have felt deceived, and wouldn't have jumped off the building, just because of this, because they needed an outlet to vent their anger. They killed me. Shen Yanqing, you are truly foolish. The person you desperately tried to save ended up killing you. In this life, I will not make the same mistake again. When I walked into the classroom, everything was unfolding according to the script from my previous life. Su Nianqing sat in the third row by the window, wearing a white dress, her long hair draped over her shoulders as she bent her head to read a book. Sunlight fell on her face, making her skin appear so pale it was almost translucent. She really looked like a painting, if I didn't know who she was. Wu Han sat behind her, craning his neck to steal glances, his gaze infatuated like a fool's. Class monitor Chen Jingrui fiddled with the projector on the podium. He was wearing a new shirt today, his hair slicked with gel. Clearly, he had dressed up with care. He liked Su Nianqing, and the whole class knew it, but he never dared to confess, because he knew Wu Han would fight him to the death. Yanqing, my deskmate Zhou Yang patted my shoulder. Why do you look so pale? Didn't sleep well last night. It's nothing, I smiled and sat down. By the way, have you heard? Nianqing was called to the teacher's office yesterday. Probably because of cheating on the mock exam. Yeah, you said the teacher is really something. Nianqing's grades are so good, how could she possibly cheat? It must be a misunderstanding. Good grades. Su Nianqing's grades are only considered upper middle in the class, but she knows how to manage her image. Before every exam, she says, I haven't reviewed anything, or, I'm definitely going to fail this time. And then she ends up with decent results. Everyone thinks she's so amazing and so smart. In fact, she stayed up until 2 o'clock every night, and her hair fell out in handfuls. She just never said anything about it. During the third class, the homeroom teacher, Ms. Wang, walked into the classroom. Ms. Wang was in her 40s and had been teaching for 20 years, with hair that had already turned gray. She was a very responsible teacher, but she had never really liked Su Nianqing. Maybe it was because Su Nianqing was too good at acting, and teacher Wang happened to be someone who didn't fall for such tricks. Su Nianqing, teacher Wang stood on the podium, looking at Su Nianqing. In yesterday's mock exam, your math paper and Li Xiang's paper had completely identical solutions for the major questions. How do you explain this? Here it comes, exactly this sentence. In the past life, it was precisely this sentence that triggered all the disasters. Su Nianqing stood up, her eyes instantly turning red. Teacher Wang, I really didn't cheat. Li Xiang and I are deskmates, and we usually solve problems in similar ways, so it's normal for our thought processes to be alike. Normal. Teacher Wang took out a test paper. Look at your previous mock exam math papers. The last 3 major questions were always left blank. This time you got all of them right, and your solution steps are exactly the same as Li Xiang's. Tell me, is that normal? I've been tutoring recently, so I've improved. Tutoring? Teacher Wang sneered. After just 1 week of tutoring, you went from leaving big questions blank to getting them all correct. Su Nianqing, I've been teaching for 20 years, and I've seen all kinds of students. Admit your mistake, and I won't report you this time. Su Nianqing's tears began to fall one by one. They hit the desk. Teacher Wang, I really didn't cheat. If you don't believe me, I can take the test again. The whole class looked at her, their eyes filled with sympathy. Wu Han was the first to stand up. Teacher Wang, if Nianqing says she didn't cheat, then she didn't. You can't wrong an innocent person. That's right. Nianqing works so hard every day. Isn't it normal for her to improve? Teacher Wang, you're going too far. The students all spoke up at once to defend Su Nianqing. Teacher Wang looked furious. It's not that there's no evidence. Surveillance footage showed Su Nianqing constantly looking at Li Xiang's test paper during the exam, and Li Xiang admitted it, but under pressure. Li Xiang retracted his statement this morning, saying, maybe I just happened to see it. Teacher Wang couldn't voice his grievances. All right. Teacher Wang collected the exam papers. Let's put this matter to rest. Be more careful during exams in the future. She turned and left the classroom. The moment the door closed, I caught sight of Teacher Wang's retreating figure and suddenly felt a pang of sorrow. She must have felt really guilty in her past life. She probably thought it was her fault for not handling the matter well, which led Su Nianqing to incite the whole class to skip the exam, but in reality, the exam boycott had nothing to do with Teacher Wang. it was all Sun Yanqing's own doing. Leave those who blindly follow the trend. After teacher Wang left, the classroom was quiet for a few seconds, then Sun Yanqing started crying, not a loud, wailing cry, but a quiet, restrained sobbing, her shoulders trembling up and down, like a wounded little animal. This was her specialty. She knew this would most effectively trigger people's protective instincts. Sure enough, Wu Han immediately rushed over from her seat and crouched beside her. Yanqing, don't cry, teacher is just like that, don't take it to heart. But I clearly didn't cheat, why would she accuse me unfairly? Sun Yanqing looked up at Wu Han with tear-filled eyes. Wu Han, tell me, am I really that terrible? Do everyone think my grades are bad, so I don't deserve to improve? No, you're not bad at all. Wu Han's face flushed with urgency. You're the best. The homeroom teacher is just jealous of you. Other classmates also gathered around. Yanqing, don't cry, we've got your back. Yeah, the homeroom teacher is really bullying you. Yanqing, you're beautiful and have excellent grades. She's just targeting you. Sun Yanqing wiped away her tears, sniffled, and forced a weak smile. Thank you, everyone. It's so good to have you all here. Then she stood up, walked to the front of the classroom, and turned around to face everyone. Classmates, I have something I want to say. The classroom fell silent. Sun Yanqing took a deep breath, her tones suddenly turning resolute. I think we can't keep enduring this humiliation anymore. It's happening. The script from the previous life, word for word. It's not the first time teacher Wang has wronged me like this. Sun Yanqing's voice trembled. Before, she said in class that I wasn't focused on studying, that I paid too much attention to my appearance, and that I damaged the class atmosphere. Today, I just want to ask everyone, what exactly did I do wrong? I just want to study hard and get into a good university. What did I do wrong? No one answered. Sun Yanqing continued, I think we should do something to let teacher Wang know that we're not easy to bully. What should we do? Wu Han immediately asked. Sun Yanqing glanced at him, a flicker of pride flashing in her eyes. It was the expression of a hunter seeing their prey take the bait. Tomorrow is the college entrance exam, Su Yanqing said. If none of us show up, teacher Wang will definitely face disciplinary action because her entire class will be absent. Then she'll understand the consequences of falsely accusing me. The classroom erupted into chaos. Missing the exam? Are you crazy? But the college entrance exam is really important. You idiot. You can't ruin your future just to get back at your teacher. Sun Yanqing's tears fell again. I'm sorry, I was too selfish. Just pretend I didn't say anything. I'll just skip the exam myself. She turned to leave. Wu Han grabbed her arm. Yanqing, don't go. I support you. He turned around and shouted to the whole class. Yanqing is right. We can't endure this anymore. If teacher Wang keeps bullying people, we should let her know the consequences. I'm the first to sign up. I'll skip the exam tomorrow. Wu Han, are you crazy? You're not going to take the college entrance exam? Someone asked. Wu Han glared. Which is more important, the university or Yanqing? Yanqing has been bullied, and if I don't do something about it, what kind of man am I? Everyone's gaze was fixed on Sun Yanqing. She lowered her head, her shoulders still trembling, but the corners of her mouth had already lifted slightly. She knew she had taken control of the situation. I support it too. Chen Jingrui suddenly spoke up. Everyone turned to look at him. Chen Jingrui was the class monitor, and his family had connections. His father worked at the Municipal Education Bureau. If he supported it, things would be different. Everyone, listen to me. Chen Jingrui stood up, cleared his throat, and said, I just sent a message to my dad. He said that in a situation where so many people are absent from the exam, the Education Bureau will definitely arrange a make-up exam. The law doesn't punish the masses. With so many people missing the exam, they can't possibly let everyone lose their chance to study. Is that true? Did your dad really say that? Of course it's true. Chen Jingrui smiled. My dad is the director of the Municipal Education Bureau's office. How could his words be false? Students who missed the exam will have a unified makeup in a few days, with the same test paper and the same admission opportunities. Nothing will be affected. The classroom erupted in excitement. What's there to be afraid of? Missing the exam is just missing the exam. Exactly. Let teacher Wang suffer a bit. I'll sign up too. I'm signing up too. Sun Yanqing stood on the podium, looking at the excited faces below, and finally smiled. That smile was sweet, pure, and harmless to both humans and animals, but in my eyes, it was the fangs of a demon. No one noticed that there was always a corner remaining silent. That was where I sat. Shin Yanqing, the academic committee member, the one with the best grades in the class. Yanqing, why aren't you saying anything? Zhou Yang nudged me. Aren't you going to participate? All eyes turned back to me. Sun Yanqing also looked at me, her gaze so tender it seemed like water could be squeezed out. Yanqing, you're the study committee member. If you join too, Teacher Wang will surely be heartbroken. Won't you help us? She sounded so pitiful, as if me not joining would be letting her down. In my past life, that's exactly how she emotionally blackmailed me. I hesitated for a long time back then, but in the end, I decided not to participate and even tried to stop them. And what happened? I was called a traitor, antisocial, and lacking a sense of collective honor. In the end, I was even killed for snitching. In this life, I won't be that foolish anymore, but I won't stop it either. I stood up, looked at Sun Yanqing, and smiled. Yanqing, how you want to handle things is your freedom. I won't interfere, but as for skipping the exam, I won't be taking part. Why? Sun Yanqing's expression froze for a moment, but quickly returned to gentleness. Yanqing, don't you trust me? It's not that I don't trust you, I said. It's just that my parents have worked hard to support my education, and I don't want to let them down. But, Sun Yanqing bit her lip, if you don't participate, Teacher Wang will say we're not united, then just consider me uncooperative. I sat down, took out my textbook, and began to review. The classroom fell silent for a few seconds. Sun Yanqing looked at me, a hint of annoyance flashing in her eyes, but she quickly concealed it. It's fine, she smiled. Yanqing has his own considerations, and we respect him. Wu Han let out a cold laugh. Truly worthy of being the academic committee member, only thinking of yourself at critical moments. Wu Han, don't say that. Sun Yanqing tugged at his sleeve. Yanqing isn't wrong, we were just too impulsive. Her voice was gentle, but every word she said was roasting me over a fire. Yanqing isn't wrong was equivalent to Yanqing doesn't fit in. We were too impulsive was equivalent to Yanqing was too selfish. I've heard this kind of talk before in my past life, but in this life, I don't care. Think whatever you want, I've already died once, so why would I be afraid of a few words from you? The class group chat exploded just before school was about to end. Absentee roll call. 1. Sun Yanqing 2. Wu Han 3. Chen Jingrui 4. Zhou Yang. I watched as the list of absentees kept growing, finally stopping at 38 people out of a class of 45. 38 had decided to skip the exam. In my previous life, it was the same number. The remaining 7 people, including me, did not join the chain, but in my previous life, I was scolded harshly for trying to stop it. In this life, I said nothing, and no one scolded me instead. That's human nature. If you ignore them, they won't think you're selfish, but if you try to save them, they'll instead think you're meddling. I turned off my phone and started flipping through my textbook. The questions from my previous college entrance exam, I've mostly forgotten, but I still remember a few key major questions. The final math question tested the comprehensive application of derivatives and inequalities. The last physics question in the science comprehensive exam tested the double rod model in electromagnetic induction and English composition on the topic of the impact of artificial intelligence on the future, a Chinese composition titled Talking About Bottom Lines. I took out my notebook and wrote down each of these points one by one. I don't remember everything, but the few major questions I do remember are enough to get me scores that others can't. I wouldn't dare claim to be number 1 in the province, but getting into Tsinghua or Peking University is definitely no problem. Oh right, today Wu Han said in the group chat that they're organizing a liberator party to celebrate not having exams. My deskmate Zhou Yang leaned over and whispered to me. I was organizing my stationery bag and looked up upon hearing this. What do you mean? It's those who skipped the exam. They're planning an all-night barbecue and KTV tonight, and they've got activities lined up for tomorrow and the day after. Zhou Yang's eyes held a hint of envy. They really know how to let go, daring to skip the college entrance exam. What else wouldn't they dare? I didn't say anything. My phone screen lit up with a message from the class group chat. Wu Han sent a voice message, his voice trembling with excitement. Brothers and sisters, tonight at 6, meet at the usual barbecue spot. My treat, all you can eat crayfish and beer. Tomorrow we'll book out a KTV. And the day after we'll pull an all-nighter gaming at the internet cafe. 3 days and nights of total freedom, followed by a series of "got it" coming, and "Wu Han is awesome." Sun Yanqing sent a shy emoji and said, "Wu Han, you're spending too much, let's split the bill." Wu Han immediately replied, "Split what? It's on me, Yanqing, just you being here is an honor." Someone else chimed in, "Wu Han, don't your parents keep an eye on you?" "Wu Han, mind your own business," I told them. I was reviewing at a classmate's house, anyway. They don't know I skipped the exam. The group chat erupted in laughter. Looking at these messages, I suddenly thought of my past life. In my past life, students who skipped exams were mostly dragged to take the test by their parents, so there was no such party. But this time, it's different. I didn't notify any of their parents, so these 38 people are still dreaming of the beautiful scenario of group absence plus retake exam. They don't know that what awaits them is not a retake, but an abyss. Yanqing, are you really not going? Zhou Yang asked me. Anyway, you're not short of exams, you could go relax after the test. No thanks. I zipped up my stationery bag. I still need to review. Zhou Yang widened his eyes. The college entrance exam is tomorrow. What else do you need to review? I smiled without explaining. I didn't tell them that what I was reviewing wasn't for tomorrow's exam. It was the college entrance exam questions from my past life, but I really want to check out this party, to see how they are heading step by step toward their own destruction. Unfortunately, I still have an exam, but it doesn't matter. I can imagining Wuhan waving his hand generously at the barbecue stall. Boss, another 50 skewers of mutton. Imagine Sun Yanqing sitting in the center, surrounded by a group of guys like stars around the moon. She holds a skewer, taking small bites. A little chili powder on the corner of her mouth, and Wuhan immediately hands her a tissue. Imagine them screaming, "Love you till the end," at the KTV. Sun Yanqing orders, "Little Lucky," and the entire class of guys melts at her singing. Imagine them playing LOL in the internet cafe, 5 in a row, shouting and cheering. What a wonderful youth. If I didn't know the ending, the first day of the college entrance exam, at 7:30 in the morning, when I walked into the examination room, my phone vibrated. It was a message from the class group. Wuhan posted a photo, a table full of barbecue, grilled eggplant, grilled leeks, grilled chicken wings, grilled lamb chops, and in the center, a large bowl of bright red crayfish. Caption, "First wave, let's dig in." Below, a group of people replied, "Wait for me, I'm coming right away." Wuhan, eat slower, save some for me. Someone shared a location, Qingdong Old Brand Barbecue. I glanced at that location, east of the city, not far from the reservoir, in my previous life. That's where I died. I muted my phone, tucked it into my pocket, and walked into the examination hall. The examination hall was very quiet, with only the soft rustling of pen tips gliding across paper. I answered the questions smoothly. After finishing the Chinese composition, I glanced at my watch. There was still an hour left. I checked it twice and handed in the paper early. When I walked out of the exam hall, the sun was blazing. I opened my phone, and the class group chat was already blowing up. Wuhan posted a video, a group of people in a KTV private room, with youth cultivation manual playing on the screen. Wuhan stood on the coffee table, holding a microphone and shouting, "Follow me, left hand, right hand," a slow motion. Below, a crowd of people sang along, the footage shaky, with laughter roaring to the heavens. Sun Yanqing sat on the sofa, her hands raised above her head, clapping along to the rhythm, smiling sweetly. Chen Jingrui stood beside her, holding a wine glass. His expression complicated. It seemed like he was smiling, yet also not quite smiling. I suddenly found it somewhat interesting. Chen Jingrui, I felt something was off about him in my previous life. Is his father really from the Education Bureau? If so, why was the makeup exam always described as being coordinated and almost there, with never a definite update? If not, why would he lie? This issue, I didn't delve into it deeply in my previous life, because in my previous life, I died too early, but in this life, I have plenty of time to investigate slowly. The afternoon exam is mathematics. After finishing the exam, it was almost dark outside. There were even more messages in the group chat. Wuhan posted, "Moving on to the next spot. Next stop, Nightfall KTV." The accompanying photo showed a group of people standing at the entrance of the KTV, arms around each other's shoulders, flashing peace signs. Sun Yanqing stood in the center, wearing a floral dress, smiling brightly. Someone commented, "Yanqing looks so beautiful today." Sun Yanqing replied, "Thank you, you're handsome too." Wuhan immediately responded, "When isn't Yanqing beautiful?" Another wave of flattery. Looking at these messages, a sudden thought popped into my mind. Does Sun Yanqing know the makeup exam is fake? In my past life, she jumped off a building, so I never got the chance to ask, but in this life, I can take a good look. If she knew it was fake and still incited everyone to skip the exam, then she is purely evil. If she didn't know and was tricked along with everyone else, then at least she has some innocence. But no matter what, The outcome is the same. She ruined the lives of these 38 people, including her own. The second day of the college entrance examination, the morning exam was on science, English exam in the afternoon. After finishing the last subject and stepping out of the exam hall, I let out a long sigh of relief. It's over, whether I did well or not. It's all over, but for me. The exam was never the focus is what comes next. I opened my phone, and the messages in the class group chat were already too many to scroll through. Wuhan live-streamed for an hour last night, showing them playing games together at an internet cafe, 5 people sitting together. Wuhan plays ADC, Chen Jingrui plays support, and the others each have their own roles. Sun Yanqing doesn't know how to play games, so she sits next to Wuhan and watches him play, occasionally handing him a bottle of water. Wuhan shouts in the video, "Yanqing handed me water, do you have any? You don't." The comments below are all, "Wuhan, enough already," and, "Showing off love leads to a quick breakup." Wuhan replied, "What's there to split? Qingnian and I are innocent." Su Qingnian replied with a shy emoji. Then someone else said, "Wuhan, stop pretending, you like Qingnian, everyone can see it." Wuhan replied, "So what if I like her? Is that not allowed?" Sun Yanqing didn't reply again. I scrolled through the group messages and found that there were already hundreds of messages since last night. They were still playing. Today was the final day of the college entrance exam, but instead of calming down, they went even crazier. Someone in the group said, "I heard the college entrance exam is over, should we celebrate?" Wuhan said, "Celebrate what? We still have to take the makeup exams, we can celebrate after that." Chen Jingrui said, "Don't worry about the makeup exams. My dad said the process is already underway, and we'll have news soon." Someone asked, "How soon is soon?" Chen Jingrui said, "About a week." The group chat erupted in cheers. "Then we can relax and have fun." Chen Jingrui, "You're awesome, your dad is awesome, come on, keep drinking." I looked at these messages, a slight smile curling at the corner of my mouth. Makeup exam, I'm curious, what would their reaction be if they knew the makeup exam would never come? The first day after the college entrance exam ended, at 8 in the morning, someone in the group chat sent a message. My parents seem to have noticed I was absent from the exam. Last night they asked me how it went, and I said it was okay, so they didn't ask anymore. That was close. Me too. My mom asked me if the math was difficult, and I said no, so she believed me. "Are you guys okay? My mom wants to check my grades." I said they haven't come out yet. She asked when they will be ready. "You guys think, will the retake results come out together with the regular college entrance exam results?" Chen Jingrui replied, "Probably, let me ask my dad." 10 minutes later, Chen Jingrui replied, "My dad said it might be a bit later, but they will definitely be there." "All right, then we'll just wait. Anyway, there's a makeup exam, so no worries. Come on, want to go swimming today? The weather is so hot, let's go." The third day after the college entrance exam ended, some people started panicking in the group. My cousin works at the Provincial Department of Education. I secretly asked him, and he said he'd never heard of any makeup exam arrangements. Chen Jingrui, "Did your dad actually get it clear?" Chen Jingrui replied, Yes, my dad said it's currently under approval." "Everyone, don't panic. Did your dad mention a specific time?" "Next week, probably, we should have news by then." The fifth day after the college entrance exams ended, my dad went to the education bureau to ask, and they said there's no such thing as a makeup exam. Chen Jingrui, "What on earth are you up to?" Chen Jingrui was silent for a long time, then sent a message, "Let me ask my dad, be right back." After this message, Chen Jingrui disappeared for 3 hours. 3 hours later, he returned. "My dad said the makeup exam might not be decided until after the college entrance exam results are out, so everyone should wait a little longer." "Wait again, until when?" "I can't wait any longer. My parents ask me about my grades every day. I'm going crazy." Sun Yanqing sent a voice message, her voice gentle yet firm. "Everyone, don't panic. Jingrui's dad is already helping. We need to trust him and hold on for a few more days." Someone replied, "Yanqing, it's not that we don't believe Jingrui, it's that we don't believe his dad. Is his dad really a leader at the education bureau?" Chen Jingrui didn't reply to this question. The seventh day after the college entrance exam ended, that was the day Chen Jingrui had referred to as, around a week, the group chat exploded. "My uncle works at the education bureau, and he said there's absolutely no makeup exam scheduled this year." "Stop waiting." "What? That's impossible. Where's Chen Jingrui? Chen Jingrui, come out." Chen Jingrui didn't show up. Sun Yanqing sent a message, Jingrui might be busy, everyone don't panic, I'll call him. 10 minutes later, Sun Yanqing replied. Jingrui said his dad is in a meeting and will reply later. Meeting, always a meeting, can't you give a definite answer? I don't care anymore. I'm going to the Education Bureau to ask for clarification. At 3 p.m., someone sent a message. I've asked. The Provincial Department of Education said there will be no makeup exams for the college entrance examination this year. Absent candidates will receive a score of 0. The group fell into a deathly silence. Then, a flood of messages poured in. No makeup exams. Are you kidding? What should we do then? Are we repeating next year? Chen Jingrui, come out, explain this clearly to me. Chen Jingrui finally appeared. He sent a long voice message, his voice hoarse. I'm sorry everyone, my dad told me I could take a makeup exam. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I'm also a victim. You're the victim, you're the victim, you're the one who lied to us about being able to retake the exam. I didn't lie to you, my dad really said that. Is your dad really from the Education Bureau? Chen Jingrui fell silent. Your dad isn't actually a leader at the Education Bureau, right? Your dad is just a regular clerk at the Education Bureau, right, Chen Jingrui? You've deceived all of us. Chen Jingrui left the group. Then, everyone turned their spears at Sun Yanqing. Sun Yanqing, you said back then, we should believe Jingrui. You believed his words. Didn't you even bother to verify them? Yanqing, didn't you say you wanted to rewrite fate? What a wonderful fate you've written. Sun Yanqing sent a voice message, her voice trembling with tears. I'm sorry everyone. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I was deceived too. You've been deceived. You were the first one to suggest skipping the exam. That's right. If you hadn't suggested skipping the exam, how would we have followed suit? Sun Yanqing, you just want to drag us all down with you. Sun Yanqing didn't reply anymore. She left the group too. I looked at these messages, feeling no ripples in my heart, no joy, no sorrow, just feeling a bit tired. In my past life, I worried about them, contacted their parents for them, and pulled them back from the edge of the cliff. As a result, they pushed me into the water and drowned me. In this life, I did nothing, just watched indifferently. They jumped off the cliff themselves, then they started biting each other. Whose fault is it really? Is it my fault? I just didn't save them. Not saving isn't a crime. In my past life, they killed me with their own hands. In this life, I simply didn't reach out. That was enough. Time flies. June 23rd. College entrance exam results announced. My hands were steady when I checked my score, 730 points. First place in the province. When my mom saw the score, she cried so hard she couldn't speak. My dad stood beside her, his eyes red, patting my shoulder and saying, "Good kid, I knew you could do it." Teacher Wang called, "Shen Yanqing, you got first place in the province. Both Tsinghua and Peking University have called to recruit you. You're amazing." I wasn't too excited, because I had known this result since the day I was reborn. What really excited me was the message in the class group. I checked my score, 0 points, I'm doomed. I also got 0 points. My mom hasn't spoken to me for 3 days. My dad said he's going to send me to work. I don't want to live anymore. Wuhan, how many points did you get? Wuhan replied, 0 points. What about Sun Yanqing? How many points did Yanqing get? Sun Yanqing didn't reply, but I knew. She also got 0 points. In my past life, she jumped off a building. Could she also? In this life, no. It's different now. In her past life, she was the only one who missed the exam, so she felt the biggest sense of disparity. In this life, 38 people are missing the exam with her. She is not alone, but it also meant that the pressure she was facing now was 38 times greater than in her previous life, because those who had failed the exam along with her were piling all their anger and despair onto her. Yanqing, didn't you say nothing would happen? Yanqing, say something. Sun Yanqing, come out here. Sun Yanqing finally appeared. She sent a long message saying she had been deceived by Chen Jingrui, that she was also a victim, and asked everyone not to blame her, as she was also very upset now. But this time, not everyone bought it. Were you deceived by Chen Jingrui? It was you who suggested skipping the exam first. Exactly. Chen Jingrui said you could retake the exam, and you believed him. Can't you think for yourself? Sun Yanqing, you just want to drag us down with you. Wuhan stepped forward to speak up for Sun Yanqing. Don't blame Yanqing. She meant well. Blame that liar Chen Jingrui. Wuhan, stop pretending to be the good guy here. If you hadn't been the first to speak up and support it, would the exam boycott have even happened? Exactly. You two were in cahoots, and you dragged all of us down with you. By the end of the argument, no one had anything left to say. The group chat fell into a dead silence. Only the system's automatic messages popped up one by one. Wuhan has left the group chat. Zhou Yang has left the group chat. Li Xiang has left the group chat. I looked at these messages and suddenly thought of a word. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. In my past life, because of Sun Yanqing's death, they took out all their anger on me. In this life, Sun Yanqing didn't die, so they took out their anger on each other. How ironic. In July, the admission notice from Tsinghua University arrived, a red cover, gilded lettering, weighty in the hand. I posted a moment on social media. Tsinghua, see you in September. The accompanying photo showed the admission letter and my face. I wasn't smiling, because I didn't want others to think I was showing off. I just wanted certain people to know that I got accepted. 10 minutes later, the comments section exploded. 730 points. Shen Yanqing, are you even human? First in the province. Holy shit, Shen Yanqing, didn't you say you were absent? How did you get such a high score? I replied, I never said I was going to be absent. Someone dug up the chat records from June 5th. Wait, Shen Yanqing really didn't sign, he said. That day he wasn't participating. Isn't he the class monitor? Why didn't he try to persuade us? Did he even try? I don't remember that. I think he said something like, it's your choice what you want to do, and then he just left it at that. So he watched us jump into the fire pit. Looking at these messages, I just want to laugh. Should I advise you? I tried to persuade you in my past life. But did you listen? Not only did I persuade you, I even stayed up late contacting your parents. So what happened? Yet you pushed me into the water and drowned me. In this life, I won't say anything, won't do anything, and yet you ask me why I don't persuade you. Human nature, it's truly disgusting. Sun Yanqing also appeared in the comments section. Yanqing, you're amazing, but why didn't you persuade us back then, watching us jump into the fire pit? Did you do it on purpose? Just wanted to see us make a fool of ourselves? Did you just want to see us get ruined? Then, everyone started hating me. I replied to Sun Yanqing, I warned them. Sun Yanqing, when did you persuade us? Me, before you decided to skip the exam. I said, it's your freedom to do as you wish, I won't interfere. That was persuasion. Sun Yanqing, I continued, you are adults, and the college entrance exam is your own life. Do I need to take responsibility for your choices? The group fell silent. No one spoke again. A month later, Sun Yanqing sent me a private message. Yanqing, can you do me a favor? I didn't reply. My parents want me to repeat the year, but I don't want to. Can you teach me how to get high scores? I still haven't replied. Yanqing, I know you hate me, but I really have no other choice. Everyone else in the class is ignoring me now. I typed a line of text, thought about it, and then deleted it. What I wanted to say was, when you pushed me into the water and drowned me in my past life, why didn't you think about today? But I didn't say it, because of what happened in my past life. Only I remember, she's just a little girl who did something wrong now, not a murderer. I replied, you can go find a tutoring class, I can't help you. She instantly replied, Yanqing, please, I know I did wrong before, but I really don't want to repeat the year. Can you please consider our time as classmates? I interrupted her. Sun Yanqing, when you proposed skipping the exam back then, did you ever think about today? She fell silent. When you incited all 38 classmates to skip the exam with you, did you ever think that they also have parents and dreams? You say you meant well, but have you ever truly cared about the lives of others? You don't care. The only one you care about is yourself. After sending these messages, I blocked her. It's not that I'm petty, it's because I've already died once, died in the lies she herself had woven. 3 years later, I'm a junior at Tsinghua University, ranked first in my department, and I've already secured a spot for graduate school. During summer vacation when I returned home, my mom asked me, do you still remember Sun Yanqing from your class? I paused for a moment. I remember. What about her? She came looking for you a while ago, saying she wanted to ask for your help finding a job. Didn't she repeat a year of school? She did, but her grades were too poor, and she still didn't get in. After that, she went to Shenzhen, worked for a year, and then came back, saying she couldn't stay there, and then she just stayed at home. Her parents introduced her to several jobs, but she refused them all, complaining about low pay and hard work, saying she wanted to take the civil service exam, but she didn't even go to university. How could she take the civil service exam? Now she's working in sales at an insurance company. My mom sighed. Such a pretty girl. How did she end up like this? I said nothing. 2 more years passed. I graduated from graduate school and joined a top-tier artificial intelligence company in China, earning 1 million yuan a year. When when I returned to my hometown for the new year, high school classmates organized a reunion. I did not go, but I saw photos of the gathering in the group. In the photos, Wuhan was wearing a crumpled shirt, his hair messy, drinking with others. He now delivers food, earning 5 or 6,000 a month, renting a partitioned room in a village in the city. Chen Jingrui didn't come. I heard his father was disciplined by the Education Bureau for false promises. He himself repeated a year of high school, got into a second-tier university, and after graduation, he worked as a clerk in a small company, earning a little over 4,000 a month. Soon Yanqing arrived. In the photo, she was wearing a cheap floral dress, her hair dyed yellow, with heavy makeup that still couldn't hide the fine lines at the corners of her eyes. She had gained quite a bit of weight, and the flesh on her face was loose and sagging, completely unrecognizable as the school beauty she once was. After the party ended, someone sent a message in the group chat, "I had such a great time tonight. It's been so long since we all got together." Yeah, time really flies. By the way, do you guys still remember the incident of missing the college entrance exam back in the day? The group fell silent for a few seconds. Don't even mention it. That's the biggest regret of my life. Same here. If I hadn't skipped the exam, I'd at least be at a top-tier university now. It's all Chen Jingrui's fault, lying to us about being able to retake the exam, and Soon Yanqing too. If she hadn't suggested skipping the exam, Chen Jingrui wouldn't have made up that lie. Wuhan, you were the first to respond back then. What do you think? Wuhan sent a voice message, his voice slurred as if he were drunk. Blame me? Fine, blame it all on me. I was just out of my mind back then, fooled by that bitch Soon Yanqing. She's a whore, she ruined all of us. Soon Yanqing was also in the group chat. She sent a crying emoji and then said, "Wuhan, how can you say that about me? I meant well back then. Good intentions my ass." Wuhan cursed outright. "You're just trying to drag us down with you. You can't get into college yourself, so you want to make sure none of us can either. You're just jealous. Damn it, I don't have. You didn't. You were the one reprimanded by the homeroom teacher for cheating, not us. Why did you incite us to skip the exam and take revenge on the teacher? In the end, the teacher got off scot-free, but we ruined our own lives. It was me who said I wanted to give up the exam. I didn't force you. Didn't you volunteer yourself? Don't you have a brain of your own? Now you're blaming me. All of you who dropped out of the exam deserved it. Don't think I don't know your little thoughts. You probably figured the class president promised we could take a makeup exam, so we'd get a few more days to review. Maybe even hoping the makeup exam questions would be easier." After Soon Yanqing's outburst, everyone exploded. "Soon Yanqing, have you no shame? Wasn't it you who incited this in the first place? Soon Yanqing, you deserve to be beaten to death by your abusive husband." Soon Yanqing remained silent. She left the group. I looked at these messages and suddenly found them quite ridiculous. 3 years. It took them a full 3 years to finally understand this truth. But so what? Their college entrance exam scores are already beyond redemption. Their lives have already been set in stone. I turned off my phone and looked out the window at the myriad lights of the city. Mom brought in a plate of fruit. "Yanqing, stop playing with your phone and eat some fruit." "Yeah, Mom, by the way, your classmate Soon Yanqing came to see you again the other day. She said she wants to develop in Beijing and asked you to help introduce her to a job. What did you say?" "I said you weren't home and told her to come back in a few days." "Mom, if she comes looking for me in the future, just tell her I'm not here." "Why, aren't you classmates?" I looked at my mom and smiled slightly. "Mom, some classmates aren't worth helping." That night, I had a dream. In my dream, I was back in my past life. I returned to the reservoir. Wuhan stepped on my back, pushing my head into the water. "Go to hell." I struggled, trying to breathe, but only inhaled mouthfuls of icy water. Just as I thought I was going to die, the scene suddenly changed. I became an onlooker, standing on the shore, watching me struggling in the water. Then, I saw Soon Yanqing. She was standing under the shade of a tree by the reservoir, wearing a white dress, her long hair flowing, a faint smile on her lips. She was looking at me. No, she was looking at me in the water. She is laughing. That smile, sweet, pure, and harmless, it was exactly the same as the smile she wore when she incited others to skip exams in the classroom. I suddenly understood. In my previous life, after I died, Soon Yanqing saw it from above. She saw Wuhan and the others avenging her, and she felt a great sense of satisfaction. She felt satisfied seeing everyone suffering because of her. This is what she wanted, not revenge on the teacher, not salvaging dignity, but destruction. Destroy myself, destroy everyone. Only if everyone goes to hell can she feel that she is not alone. I suddenly woke up from the dream. drenched in cold sweat. The sky outside the window was already dimly lit. I sat on the edge of the bed, gasping for breath. Then, I picked up my phone and scrolled to Sun Yenqing's WeChat. I had already blocked her, but I could still see her WeChat Moments cover photo. The cover was a selfie of her wearing a wedding dress, smiling with a look of happiness. I clicked in and saw her profile signature read, "Everything happens for the best arrangement. You ruined 38 people's college entrance exams, deceived 38 people's youth. And you say this is the best arrangement." I turned off my phone and lay back on the bed. Never mind, it has nothing to do with me anymore. I have already lived the life I wanted, and they have lived the life they deserved. This is the best ending. A few more years passed. I am already the technical director of the company, leading a team of dozens of people, conducting research related to artificial intelligence. One day, I received an email. Sender, Sun Yenqing. The content was just one sentence. Sun Yenqing, can you help me? My husband cheated on me. I don't have a job, no savings, I've lost everything. I didn't reply. She sent another one. I know I've done many wrong things in the past, but I'm really at my wit's end now. Can you lend me some money? Just 50,000 would be enough. I still haven't replied. The third letter, Sun Yenqing, have you forgotten? We were classmates. Helping each other out among classmates is only natural, isn't it? I stared at it for a long time, and finally typed 2 words, I'm sorry. Click to send. Then I dragged this email into the blacklist. As well, classmate, if those 38 people knew that in your past life you tricked them all and then pushed me into the water, would they still think we were classmates? If those 38 people knew you never intended to let them have an easy time from the very beginning, would they still regard you as a goddess? Unfortunately, only I remember what happened in the past life, but it didn't matter. The punishment you deserved, you have already received. The price you had to pay, you have already paid, and I simply did not save you. Not for revenge, I merely watched. At 30, I went back to my hometown to attend my cousin's wedding. At the wedding, I met someone unexpected, Wuhan. He was wearing a suit that had been washed so many times it had faded, his hair was cut very short, and his face was full of the weariness of life. He sat in the corner, drinking alone. I hesitated for a moment, then walked over. Wuhan, he looked up, glanced at me, and it took him several seconds to recognize me. Sun Yenqing, his eyes suddenly lit up. What are you doing here? My cousin got married. I sat down beside him. And you? The bride is my cousin. He smiled, but the smile looked forced. We were silent for a moment. Wuhan suddenly said, Sun Yenqing, do you know, the thing I regret most in my life is skipping the college entrance exam back then. I said nothing. I'm delivering food now, making 5 or 6,000 a month, not even enough to afford a wife. He smiled bitterly. You know, Sun Yenqing married a businessman back then, but the guy ended up swindling her out of hundreds of thousands and cheated on her. Now she's raising a child alone, running a beauty salon in our county town, and business isn't good either. What do you think would have happened if we had listened to you back then and not skipped the exams? I looked at the lively wedding scene in the distance and thought for a moment. Probably, we'd all be doing pretty well. Yeah, Wuhan sighed. Too bad there's no what if. He suddenly looked at me, his gaze very serious. Sun Yenqing, I've always wanted to ask you something. What thing? Back then, why didn't you try to persuade us? I looked at him and remained silent for a long time. I did try, but you just said, it's your freedom to decide what you want to do. Does that count as persuasion? If I had said more, would you have listened? Wuhan fell silent. Wuhan, you're all adults now, I said, looking into his eyes. The college entrance exam is your own life, not mine. Should I be responsible for you? On what grounds? He opened his mouth but said nothing. Even if I had knelt down and begged you back then, would you have listened? I continued. You wouldn't, because you don't care about the college entrance exam, you don't care about your parents, you don't care about the future. All you care about is Sun Yenqing, and all Sun Yenqing cares about is herself. Wuhan lowered her head. So, don't ask me why I'm not trying to persuade you. I stood up and patted his shoulder. You should ask yourself why you're so foolish. I turned and walked away. After walking a few steps, I suddenly stopped and glanced back at him. Wuhan, do you remember the reservoir in the east of the city back then? He looked completely confused. What reservoir? Nothing. I smiled faintly. Probably I'm overthinking. Exactly, only I remember what happened in my past life. Those people have already received the punishment they deserved, but the harm they caused me will never be repaid, because I am the one who shouldn't have died but did, and they just lived the way they deserved. Is that fair? It's unfair, but that's life. After the wedding, I walked out of the hotel and saw a red BMW parked at the entrance. The car window rolled down, revealing a face heavily made up, Sun Yanqing, Shen Yanqing. She looked at me in surprise. What are you doing here? My cousin is getting married. Oh, she looked me over. I heard you're working in artificial intelligence in Beijing now. What's your annual salary? Okay, just okay. How much is that? She smiled. You're not afraid I'll ask to borrow money from you, are you? No. I smiled too. I'm afraid you'll come looking for me. Her smile froze for a moment. Sun Yanqing, when you missed the exam back then, did you ever think about today? She put away her smile and looked at me coldly. Shen Yanqing, how many years ago was that? Why bring it up again? I was just curious. What are you curious about? Curious about whether you regretted it when you saw Wu Han delivering food, Chen Jingrui working as an office clerk, and you running your own beauty salon. Regret? She let out a cold laugh. Why should I regret? I was deceived by Chen Jingrui back then. It wasn't like I did it on purpose. Didn't you mean to? I looked at her. Sun Yanqing, when you backed up Chen Jingrui's lie that my dad is a leader in the education bureau. When you flirted with Wu Han to get him to be the first to respond. When you said in the group chat, we need to stick together. Did you really not know what you were doing? Shut up. Her voice suddenly turned sharp. You don't know anything. I do know, I said. I know that from the very beginning. You never intended for anyone to have it easy. You were criticized by Teacher Wang. You felt humiliated, and you wanted everyone to share that humiliation with you, so you dragged everyone down with you, including yourself. You don't understand. Her eyes reddened. Do you know what it feels like to be wronged? Do you know what it feels like to be humiliated in front of everyone? I just wanted Teacher Wang to taste that feeling too. So you ruined the college entrance exams for 38 people. I didn't ruin them. They volunteered themselves. Yeah, I nodded. They volunteered themselves, so you don't need to take responsibility, right? She didn't speak. Sun Yanqing, you're right. They volunteered themselves, so you don't need to take responsibility for anyone. I looked into her eyes and said, word by word, but don't you ever think anyone should be responsible for you? I turned and walked away. Behind me came the sound of her slamming the steering wheel. I didn't look back. After returning to Beijing, I continued living my life, work, study, and occasionally hang out with friends. One evening, while browsing my Moments feed, I saw a message, 10-year high school reunion. Everyone is welcome to attend. The event is scheduled for next month at a hotel in my hometown. I stared at the message and thought for a long time. In the end, I signed up, not because I wanted to see them, but because I suddenly thought of something. In my past life, I died during the summer right after the college entrance exams ended. In this life, I've already lived for 10 years. It's time to settle things. On the day of the gathering, I just wore a plain t-shirt and jeans and didn't dress up on purpose. When I walked into the hotel's private room, it was already filled with people. I saw Wu Han, who had become even thinner than before, with noticeable wrinkles at the corners of his eyes. I saw Chen Jingrui, wearing a pair of black-framed glasses, his hair noticeably thinner, looking 10 years older than his actual age. I saw Zhou Yang, who hadn't changed much, except his belly had grown quite a bit, and Sun Yanqing. She was wearing a black dress, her hair dyed back to black, and her makeup was very light. She had lost a lot of weight, and the contours of her face became clear again, making her look younger than she had 2 years ago. But her eyes changed. In the past, her eyes always carried a pitiful glimmer, making people want to protect her. Her gaze was very calm now, so calm it was like a stagnant pool of water. Shen Yanqing, someone recognized me. Holy shit, Shen Yanqing is here. Everyone looked at me. I heard you're working in artificial intelligence in Beijing now. What's your annual salary? I heard you bought a house. Did you buy it in Beijing? How much did it cost? Are you still not married? No way. I answered one by one, polite yet distant. After a few rounds of drinking, someone started getting tipsy. Let me tell you, the thing I regret most in my life is missing the college entrance exam back then. Zhou Yang raised his glass, nearly in tears. If I had taken the exam back then, I'd at least be a graduate from a top-tier university now. Would I even need to be stuck in this crappy county? Alright, it's all in the past. Why bring it up? Someone advised. In the past. Zhou Yang slammed the table. You call this in the past? Because of this mess, my whole life has been ruined. So what if it's ruined? Wasn't it your own choice? My own choice. If I had known back then that missing the exam meant no chance to retake it, would I have chosen this? Then who are you blaming? Chen Jingrui. All eyes turned to Chen Jingrui. Chen Jingrui's face turned bright red. I was tricked too. I called my dad, and he said, maybe you can take a makeup exam, so I thought it meant I could definitely take it. Maybe you can take a makeup exam, you fucking said. You definitely can take a makeup exam. Exactly, you said your dad is a leader in the education bureau, and the law doesn't punish the masses, so we can definitely retake the exam. Chen Jingrui, you're just a liar. The private room was in complete chaos. Someone stood up to hit Chen Jingrui but was held back by the person next to them. Su Nianqing sat in the corner, drinking quietly, as if none of this had anything to do with her, but I knew she was waiting for everyone to argue enough, waiting for everyone to grow tired, and then she would step forward to speak. When the time came, she would say, "Everyone, stop arguing, it's all in the past, let's just live well from now on." Then everyone will think she is generous, sensible, and holds no grudges. She has been using this trick for over a decade, and it has never failed. But this time, I won't let her have her way. Su Nianqing, I spoke up. Everyone looked at me. Su Nianqing also looked at me, her eyes carrying a hint of wariness. When you suggested skipping the exam back then, did you ever think about today? The private room fell silent. Su Nianqing put down her wine glass and calmly looked at me. Shen Yanqing, it's been 10 years already. Do you still have to hold on to it? I was just curious. What are you curious about? I'm curious about what you were really thinking back then. I said, you were criticized by Teacher Wang, and you felt wronged, so you wanted everyone to skip the exam with you, making Teacher Wang embarrassed. But did you ever think about what skipping the exam actually means? Su Nianqing didn't say anything. Skipping the exam means 0 points, means no university admission, means repeating a year, means changing the course of your life. I looked into her eyes. Have you really never thought about these consequences? I never thought there wouldn't be a makeup exam, she finally spoke up. It was Chen Jingrui who said his dad works in the education bureau and told me there would be a makeup exam, so even if there is a makeup exam, I interrupted her. The timing of the makeup exam is different from the regular college entrance exam. The grading standards for the makeup exam might be stricter, and the scores from the makeup exam could be treated differently during admissions. Have you thought about any of this? She didn't speak. You haven't thought about it. I said, you don't think about anything, you just feel wronged, feel like you've been bullied, so you want everyone to suffer with you. You don't care about the consequences, you don't care about others, you only care about yourself. Shen Yanqing, don't go too far. Wuhan suddenly stood up. Nianqing meant well back then. Don't stand there and act like you know everything. Good intentions. I looked at Wuhan. Wuhan, you were the first to respond to skipping the exam back then. Why do you think you did it? Of course, it was for Nianqing, for her. Then did you know that she asked you to skip the exam with her because she knew she couldn't get into a good university, so she wanted to drag someone down with her? The private room fell into a deathly silence. Su Nianqing's face was deathly pale. It's not like that. Her voice was very soft, so soft it was almost inaudible. It's not like that, not like that. Wuhan suddenly spoke up, his voice carrying a chill I had never heard before. Nianqing, is what Shen Yanqing said true? Wuhan, listen to me, speak. Wuhan said, looking at her, explain yourself clearly. Su Nianqing opened her mouth but couldn't utter a word. So, you've been lying to us from the very beginning. Wuhan's fists clenched with a crackling sound. You wanted us to skip the exam with you just to drag us down with you. You were never going to pass anyway. All your usual exam results were cheated. I don't have. You did, I said on her behalf. You just never expected that Shen Yanqing would actually take the exam and end up ranking first in the entire province. You thought everyone would be as foolish, as reckless, and as indifferent to the future as you are. But Shen Yanqing cares. He cares about his parents, his future, and his own life. And what about you? You only care about your pride. The private room was quiet for a long time. Then Wuhan stood up. He looked at Su Nianqing, his eyes full of bloodshot veins. Su Nianqing, I've been chasing you for 3 years. I always thought you were a good girl, just unlucky. But today I finally realized, you're nothing but a whore. He picked up the wine glass on the table and splashed it all over Su Nianqing's face. This glass is to my 10 years of youth. He turned and walked away. The door of the private room slammed shut. Su Nianqing sat there, the wine on her face dripping down her chin, her whole body like a statue. No one helped wipe it for her, no one comforted her. Everyone looked at her, their eyes filled with anger, disdain, and disgust, but there was no sympathy. It had been 10 years, she had deceived them for 10 years. Today, I finally paid it back. After the gathering ended, I walked home alone. The moonlight was beautiful, and the wind was pleasantly cool. My phone vibrated slightly. It was a message from Su Nianqing. Shen Yanqing, Are you satisfied now? I didn't reply. You ruined my reputation. Are you satisfied now? Still no reply. I know you hate me. You've hated me since high school. You think I'm hypocritical, think I'm putting on airs, think I'm a manipulative woman, but do you know, that's just who I am. I can't help it. I don't want to be a good person. Good people never end up well. Look at Teacher Wang. She taught for 20 years and was eventually transferred to the countryside. Look at you. You've helped so many people, but who remembers your kindness? So I don't want to be a good person. I just want to be myself. I am vain. I am selfish. I just like being cherished. So what? I did nothing wrong. It's not me who's wrong. It's the world. I stared for a long time, then typed a few words. You're right. It's not you who's wrong. It's the world. So this world is punishing you too. Send, then blocked her. At the age of 35, I got married. My husband was my college classmate, who studied psychology and now works as a teacher at a university. On the day of the wedding, I received a package. Opening it, she found a letter. The paper was old and the handwriting messy. Shen Yanqing, I'm sorry, only these words, no signature, but I recognize this handwriting. It's Sun Yanqing's. I placed the letter on the table and stared at it for a long time. In the end, I put it away in the drawer. There was no reply, no forgiveness, no hatred either. Just put it away, like I put away the memories of those 10 years. Later I heard that Sun Yanqing's beauty salon had gone out of business. She took her child back to her parents' home and became a cashier at a supermarket in the county town. Some people said she had aged, gained weight, and become ugly, completely unrecognizable. Others said she was still waiting for someone who could forgive her, but no one knew who she was waiting for. Maybe even she herself didn't know. At 40, I returned to my hometown to visit my parents' graves. Passing through the county town, I stopped at the entrance of a supermarket to buy some water. A woman was sitting behind the checkout counter, lowering her head and playing with her phone. Hello, a bottle of water. She looked up. It was Sun Yanqing. She looked older and heavier than I expected, with heavy dark circles under her eyes and half of her hair turned white. She stared at me for a few seconds, stunned. Shen Yanqing, we were silent for a long time, then she suddenly asked, Are you married? Married, happy. She smiled, a bitter smile. That's good. I walked away with the water. After a few steps, I stopped and glanced back at her. She was still watching me. The moment our eyes met, I saw the light in hers. It was a very strange light, not hatred, not love, not regret, not relief, just a very simple light, as if wanting to say something but unable to express it. I turned around and walked away, never looked back. Many years later, someone asked me, Professor Shen, what is your biggest regret in life? I thought for a moment and said, I have no regrets, not even one, not a single one. Does that include the college entrance exam? I smiled. Including the college entrance exam. What I didn't say was, the year of the college entrance exam, I saved 38 people. Instead of being grateful, they killed me. After rebirth, I didn't save them, they didn't blame me. Instead they thanked me. The irony of life is no greater than this, but this is not a reason for me to regret. I do not regret, because I have never done anything wrong. The mistakes of the past life were committed by them. The fruit of this life was planted by them. I am just an observer who has died once. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my past life, my superstitious best friend Su Wanwan was always crying about her bad luck, coaxing me into letting her borrow my fortune. She took my jewelry, my hair, and even my personal clothing to perform rituals. My life took a sharp turn for the worse. My job was taken, my boyfriend was stolen, and my parents died in an accident. As I lay on my deathbed, she finally gloated, Silly you, that little bit of fortune you had to bring prosperity to your husband and wealth, I swapped it away long ago. Everything you had is now mine. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when Su Wanwan once again had red-rimmed eyes, begging me to lend her an old necklace to change her luck. She held my hand, tears falling like broken beads. My boyfriend wants to break up with me. The master said I just need a little bit of your life energy to win him back. You're my best friend, you'll definitely help me, right? I looked at this innocent and pitiful face, remembering how in my past life she wore my necklace, held my boyfriend's arm, and lived in the house bought with my parents' inheritance. I laughed, gripping her cold hand in return, my tone more enthusiastic than ever before. Wanwan, what's an old necklace worth? did the master say whether it would be even more effective to directly give you the most prosperous parts of my fate, like the foundation of prospering my husband or prospering wealth? Su Wan froze. My eyes were icy cold. In this lifetime, do you want to borrow my luck? Fine, I'll give it all to you, principal and interest included. I'm just afraid you won't be able to handle it. Nor do you deserve it. My name is Lin Yu, an ordinary urban white-collar worker, as ordinary as they come. If I had to say there's anything special about me, it's probably that since I was young, fortune tellers have always said my fate is steady with hidden prosperity. Though I may not have great wealth or high status, I always have good fortune protecting me at critical moments, commonly known as having pretty good luck. But this good luck seemed to start diminishing after my best friend, Su Wan, appeared. Su Wan, true to her name, has a sweet appearance, speaks softly, and always wears a slight frown, carrying a touch of endearing melancholy. We met in college, and she often said she envied my good luck, describing me as a little sun while she was a rainy day. At first, it was just small things. Yu, I have an interview next week. You're so lucky. Could I borrow this lucky bracelet for a couple of days? She pleaded, blinking her watery eyes. It was a birthday gift from my mom, and after hesitating, I took it off and gave it to her. As a result, she passed her interview, while my promotion assessment around the same time inexplicably failed. Yu, I've been having insomnia and nightmares lately. A master told me there's negative energy around me, and I need some vital energy from close family or friends to counteract it. Could you cut a lock of your hair for me? I'll just put it under my pillow. Her eyes were red, looking pitiful. I couldn't refuse, so I cut it. Then I started having frequent headaches, and at a critical moment in my project, my computer's hard drive suddenly crashed. Yu, my mom is sick and needs money for surgery. The master said that if I keep a personal item from someone with deep fortune at home, it can attract wealth and change luck. That pearl necklace you always wear, could you? She cried, looking utterly heartbroken. My parents passed away early, and I can't bear to hear such things. My heart softened, and I gave her the pearl necklace my grandmother left me. Her mother's surgery went smoothly, but during that time, I fell victim to an investment scam and lost a large portion of my savings. Every time she borrowed luck, Su Wan always got what she wanted, overcame difficulties, and even thrived. Meanwhile, I lost opportunities, suffered financial losses, and gradually developed various minor health issues in a series of coincidences. She would always hug me, crying with gratitude. Yu, you're truly my lucky star. What would I do without you? And I, seeing her doing better and better, though I was having some bad luck, never thought too deeply about it. Out of friendship and a strange sense of satisfaction from helping a friend, that was until I met Zhou Yu. He was a client at my company, mature and steady, and treated me with great care. Our relationship quickly deepened, and we started talking about marriage. Su Wan was happy for us too, often coming over to my place and sweetly calling Zhou Yu brother-in-law this and brother-in-law that. The incident happened on a stormy night. I returned from a business trip earlier than expected, wanting to surprise Zhou Yu. As I opened the door, I heard Su Wan's tearful, coquettish voice coming from the bedroom. Brother Yu, sister Yu's fate is so tough. She brought misfortune to her parents, and now even you are starting to have bad luck. Didn't the master say that only by completely cutting ties with her and connecting your energy with mine can you successfully secure that big project? I just don't want to see you suffer. This was followed by Zhou Yu's gentle reassurance. I know, Wan, you've been wronged. Just wait a little longer, until I get my hands on the shares and the house she owns. I felt as if struck by lightning and collapsed at the doorway. So, my parents' accident, all the misfortunes I've faced, what I thought was just unfair fate, were actually the result of the two people I trusted most, conspiring with some master to steal my energy and even plotting to take everything from me. I rushed in and fought with them, but Zhou Yu pushed me away, causing me to hit my head on the corner of a table and pass out. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital, severe concussion, physically weak. Zhou Yu and Su Wan never showed up again. News came from the company that my position had been replaced, and my shares had been maliciously transferred. Bad news arrived from my hometown. The old house left by my parents had been sold at a low price due to a power of attorney I had signed. I lay on the hospital bed, covered in tubes, my consciousness blurred. In my final moments, Su Wan came, dressed glamorously. She leaned close to my ear and whispered in a voice only I could hear, sweet yet venomous. Lin Yu, haven't you realized it yet? The little, hidden prosperity in your fate has long been transferred to me bit by bit through the method of borrowing luck. Your job, your man, your money, your luck, they're all mine now. Oh, by the way, Zhou Yu is about to propose to me, right? In the house you bought with your parents' inheritance. Just go in peace, and in your next life, remember not to wear your blessings on your face, okay? She smiled, turned, and left. The sound of her high heels tapping the floor echoed like a funeral bell. Endless hatred, coldness, and regret consumed me. In the final moment as my consciousness sank into darkness, I seemed to see countless fine, golden threads being forcibly pulled from my body, disappearing into Su Wanwan's triumphant figure. Is that my luck? If there were another chance, a sharp headache jolted me awake. I snapped my eyes open to find myself sitting on the living room sofa, holding a cup of warm floral tea. Outside the window, the sun was bright. It was clearly afternoon. Sitting across from me was Su Wanwan. She was wearing a white dress, her eyes slightly red and the tip of her nose flushed. She looked at me with those deer-like, moist eyes, clutching a simple, old-style necklace I hadn't worn in a long time. Yu, please help me, this time it's really important. The master said we're just a little short of your vital energy to help me win Ajay back. You're my best friend. You'll definitely help me, right? The scene, the dialogue, even her pitiful expression, were exactly the same as a certain moment in my memory. I had been reborn back to the day when Su Wanwan once again came to borrow luck, and in my past life, I foolishly agreed. Accelerating my own misfortune, my heart was pounding in my chest, not out of fear, but because of overwhelming hatred and the sudden opportunity that had descended, clashing violently. As I looked at Su Wanwan's seemingly pure and flawless face, my mind flashed with her smug expression at my sickbed in my past life, with Zhou Yu's hypocritical tenderness, with my parents' empty old house. Hate, like a poisonous vine, instantly entwined my heart, but this time, I did not erupt immediately. I slowly set down the flower tea, feeling the lingering warmth at my fingertips, sensing the power of blood flowing through my healthy body. I am still alive, nothing has happened yet, my parents' old house is still there, my job is still there, my health is still there too. Most importantly, I now know their dirty tricks, borrowing luck, exchanging fates. Alright, I lifted my head, meeting Su Wanwan's hopeful gaze, and slowly revealed a smile more gentle and sincere than ever before. Su Wanwan seemed momentarily dazzled by my overly radiant smile, a flicker of confusion quickly passing through her eyes, but it was soon replaced by even more earnest pleading. Yu, what are you smiling about? Do you think I'm being too superstitious? She pouted, her eyes growing even redder. I know it's not right, but I really have no other choice. Ajay really wants to break up with me. I'd die without him. Here we go again. In my past life, I was fooled time and again by her seemingly fragile, love-dependent demeanor, and my heart softened over and over. How could I not? I took her hand holding the necklace, my voice dripping with tenderness, yet my gaze was like an icy searchlight, sweeping over her face. We're best friends, after all, how could I not help when you're in trouble? Su Wanwan's hand was ice-cold, and it trembled almost imperceptibly when I held it. She probably didn't expect me to agree so readily this time, and with such enthusiasm. Really, you're the best, Yu. She immediately brightened up, trying to pull the necklace away. So, this necklace, I didn't let go. Instead, I held on even tighter, speaking in a thoughtful tone. But, Wanwan, I was thinking what? Su Wanwan looked at me warily. I was thinking, how much effect can an old necklace have, even if it carries a bit of my life force? I tilted my head, putting on an expression of wholehearted concern for her. This is a big deal for you, mending a relationship. Is this little bit of life force enough? Did that master ever mention if there's a more direct, more effective method? Su Wanwan was stunned, her eyes flickering uncertainly. A more direct method? Yeah. I leaned in closer to her, lowering my voice and speaking mysteriously. For example, it's not just about borrowing a little bit of external vitality, but directly transferring some of the better foundations from my fate to you. I've heard elders say that some people have foundations in their fate like prospering a husband or prospering wealth. Though they may not stand out themselves, they can bring blessings to those close to them. With every word I spoke, Su Wanwan's eyes grew brighter. In my past life, that so-called master probably brainwashed her in the same way, making her firmly believe she could steal my blessings Now, I was personally placing the bait right in front of her. Ah, really? Is that possible? Su Wanwan's voice trembled slightly with excitement, but she quickly put on a mask of concern. But, wouldn't that be bad for you? Could it harm your foundation? Look, what a thoughtful, best friend. In my past life, it was just like this, greedily taking while pretending to care, making me let my guard down and even feel moved by her supposed kindness. For you, what's a little bit of luck? I patted the back of her hand, my smile flawless. Besides, didn't the master say we have complementary destinies? If my prosperity goes to you, maybe it's another form of balance for me too. Isn't that better than me always leaking luck? I sighed meaningfully. Su Wanwan was clearly swayed by my words, especially the terms complementary destinies and leaking luck, which precisely aligned with the theories she and that master had been fed. She hesitated for a moment, then cautiously asked, "Then, how do we transfer it? The master only mentioned before that we need something personal and frequently used by you, preferably something that carries the most of your vital energy." The most vital energy, I sneered inwardly. In my past life, they escalated step by step, from a bracelet to hair to personal clothing. In the end, did they even want my blood, my life? Well, I pretended to think seriously. Something personal and frequently used, and preferably something that represents the foundation. Did the master ever mention, for example, hair, or something more direct, like, I deliberately paused, watching her hold her breath, like, using my blood mixed with cinnabar or something to write a talisman? I've heard that in ancient rituals for transferring luck, it often requires the fingertip blood of a close relative or dear friend as a catalyst. Fingertip blood. Su Wanwan's pupils contracted sharply, her breathing quickening. Greed completely overwhelmed her disguise. She probably thought that I, this fool, had actually taken the initiative to propose the ultimate step they had been dreaming of. Why, yes, it seems, there is such a saying. She struggled to suppress her excitement, stammering as she spoke. You're willing, isn't this too, for your happiness? I'm willing to give it a try, I said resolutely, with a self-sacrificing, holy light on my face. However, for such a major matter, we can't act recklessly. We need to find a truly reliable master. Wanwan, does the master perform rituals? We need to invite him to preside over it, to make it more formal, so as not to backfire. I kicked the ball back to her, also to see who the master behind her really was. Su Wanwan nodded eagerly. Yes, the master is very powerful. I'll contact him right away. You're really too kind. I'll remember your kindness for the rest of my life. She lunged forward to hug me, but I deftly sidestepped to avoid her. By the way, I said, as if it had just occurred to me, with this kind of ritual, will there be any backlash, or do I need to pay some price? Did the master mention anything? Su Wanwan's eyes flickered for a moment before she quickly waved her hands. No, the master said this is mutual benefit, a win-win. It's only good for you, no harm at all. At most, you might feel a bit tired at first, but that's just a normal reaction when the foundation is being transferred. You'll be fine after resting for a few days. She spun her story quite smoothly. That's good to hear, I nodded, showing a relieved smile. So, when would be convenient for you? Let's do it as soon as possible, so you can win a Jia back sooner. I'll ask the master right away. Su Wanwan eagerly took out her phone and walked to the balcony to make the call. I watched her retreating figure, the smile on my face gradually cooling until only a cold, mocking expression remained. Fingertip blood, transferring luck, fine. I stood up, walked to the study, and turned on the computer. In my previous life, I had been muddle-headed, consumed only by hatred, and never thought to take the initiative to investigate. Now, I needed to know the background of that master, and I also needed to know how far Su Wanwan and Zhou Yu had progressed. Using some less than legal but effective methods, I had secretly learned a bit of hacking in my past life to investigate the truth behind my parents' accident. I quickly traced a phone number that Su Wanwan frequently contacted. The registered owner's information showed the name Jia Daoran, who had registered a metaphysical culture consulting studio under his name. Located in an old residential area on the urban-rural fringe, traces online revealed that this person was nothing more than a half-baked charlatan, specializing in fraud and even extortion through mystification and collecting clients' private information, such as obtaining birth dates, personal belongings, and even blood or hair under the guise of performing rituals. As for Zhou Yu's side, I took a deep breath and entered his name along with some information I knew. The results churned my stomach. Zhou Yu's company was indeed recently competing for a large government-led infrastructure project, and the competition was fierce. The transaction records of his personal account showed several large, unexplained expenditures recently. What chilled me to the core was that the case number of my parents' accidental traffic accident, which I had secretly memorized, actually appeared in an internal memo summary of a legal consulting firm secretly connected to Zhou Yu, though it was just a few brief phrases like follow up and no objection. It was enough for me to confirm that my parents' deaths were definitely not just an accident. My hand gripping the mouse turned white at the knuckles from the force. Hatred surged once again, almost overwhelming my reason. No, I can't let things get chaotic. It's not the right time yet. I need to wait for them to play out the climax of their transferring luck act. The balcony door opened, and Su Wanwan walked back in, her face beaming with joy. Yu, the master said it's no problem. He said tomorrow night is the auspicious time, and the ritual can be held at his altar. You need to prepare 3 drops of blood from your fingertips, your birth date and time, precise to the hour, and a piece of clothing you wear most often and that is closest to your body. The master will prepare the cinnabar, talisman paper, and the altar. Okay, I replied calmly, I'll take tomorrow off. Su Wanwan left happily, and before leaving, she thoughtfully reminded me to rest well and not to overexert myself tomorrow. Closing the door, I leaned against the cold door panel and slowly slid down to sit on the floor. Tomorrow, fingertip blood, birth date and time, personal clothing, these are all mediums in folklore that can be used to cast malicious curses or dark arts. What they want is probably more than just borrowing luck. After I died in my previous life, did they use my belongings to do something even more sinister to ensure my luck was completely transferred to her, or to suppress my soul? I stood up, walked to the bathroom, and looked at my pale but sharp-eyed reflection in the mirror. Blood, I can give them, but how to give it is up to me. I rummaged through the first aid kit, found disposable blood collection needles and several sterile sealed tubes. Then, I opened my computer, searched for some scattered information about folk magic and blood taboos, combined with vague memories from my past life and the possible methods of that Jia Daoren, and gradually formed a bold plan in my mind. I am not a master of metaphysics, but I know one fundamental principle, the conservation of energy. To gain something, one must always pay a price. They want to steal my prosperous fortune. Fine, I'll give it to them, but in my fate, is there only prosperity? What about the misfortune, calamity, and loneliness that accompany prosperity, often overlooked? Just as overly bright light always casts deep shadows, what I intend to give Su Wanwan is not just the illusion of bringing prosperity to her husband and wealth. I will also package and gift her the hidden side effects that require an exceptionally strong fate to suppress. I hope she can handle this grand gift. The next evening, I followed the address Su Wanwan had given me and arrived at the Metaphysical Culture Consulting Studio. The place was remote, the hallway dimly lit, and the air was thick with the scent of cheap incense and dust. Jia Daoren was a gaunt middle-aged man, dressed in an ill-fitting Taoist robe. His eyes were murky yet shrewd, scanning me up and down, especially when I handed over the small sealed tube containing the fingertip blood. The greed in his eyes was almost palpable. The ritual altar was set up in a dimly lit room, with a red cloth covering the table. On it were an incense burner, candlesticks, some talismans, and a copper coin sword, creating an eerie, mystical atmosphere. Su Wanwan was there too, watching me with a mix of nervousness and anticipation. Miss Lin, please have a seat. Jia Daoren gestured with feigned solemnity toward a cushion in front of the altar. Relax your mind and pray sincerely. Once the ritual begins, no matter what you see or hear, do not panic. I sat down as instructed, lowering my eyelids to conceal the cold glint in my eyes. The ritual began. Jia Daoren shook a bell, chanting incantations, burned talismans, and circled around me and Su Wanwan. Su Wanwan had her eyes closed, hands clasped together, her face filled with devotion, as Jia Daoren picked up the small tube containing my blood, preparing to mix it with cinnabar to draw the talisman. I quietly adjusted my breathing, my fingertips moving slightly within my sleeve. The blood I gave him wasn't pure blood from the tip of my middle finger, which is said to have the strongest yang energy. It was mixed with a small amount of blood I had collected in advance from the tip of my left ring finger. According to some obscure beliefs, the ring finger is connected to the heart, and its blood carries the essence of emotional tribulations, as well as an extremely tiny trace of and ominous energy I had deliberately obtained last night by lightly brushing my skin with something considered unlucky, like a willow branch that had swept over a grave. Of course, these additives were so minuscule that they were almost undetectable, let alone by a fraud like Jia Daoren. I just wanted to add a different kind of ingredient to the fortune transfer ritual. It was like sprinkling a tiny pinch of bitter salt into a bowl of sweet soup, so subtle it was almost imperceptible. Jia Daoren, completely unaware, used the cinnabar mixed with blood to draw twisted talismanic symbols on 2 yellow paper charms. One was pasted on Su Wanwan's forehead, and the other was to be burned and dissolved in water for me to drink as talisman water. Now, silently recite your intention to transfer your blessings to Miss Su, Jia Daoren commanded. I closed my eyes as instructed and silently recited in my heart, Lin Yuyu, willingly bestow all the auspicious energy from my fate, along with the lingering solitude, misfortune, and calamity attached to its foundation, to my dearest friend Su Wanwan. May she inherit my fortune and bear my karma. Heaven bears witness, let this be our covenant. I didn't know if this would work, but since they believed in it, I followed their way. Psychological suggestion can sometimes be more terrifying than real magic. The talisman water was burned and mixed into clear water. Jia Daoren handed me the bowl of murky liquid. Looking at the ashes floating in the bowl, I didn't hesitate and drank it all in one go. The taste was strange, carrying the scent of incense ash and a hint of rust. The ritual concluded, the talisman paper on Su Wanwan's forehead was removed. She opened her eyes, took a moment to feel, then joyfully grabbed my hand. Yuyu, I can feel it, it's like a warm current. Thank you so much. The joy on her face was so genuine, as if she had truly obtained the treasure she had long dreamed of. Jia Daoren also stroked his chin, looking as if he had accomplished a great deed. Miss Lin is truly righteous. From now on, Miss Su will surely have everything go smoothly and all her wishes fulfilled. I smiled weakly, leaning back in the chair, my face pale. Half of it was an act. Master, I feel a bit dizzy and cold all over. Is this a normal reaction? Normal, completely normal. Jia Daoren hurriedly replied, transferring one's foundation consumes vital energy. Rest for a few days, and you'll be fine. Go back, drink plenty of warm water, and take good care of yourself. Su Wanwan quickly helped me up, full of concern. Yuyu, I'll take you back. You rest well, don't worry about anything during this time. On the way back, I leaned against the back seat of the car, eyes closed. Su Wanwan hummed a tune beside me. In an exceptionally good mood, I quietly opened my eyes a crack, watching her profile as she basked in the joy of successfully seizing luck. Laugh, enjoy laughing while you still can. What you borrowed is not something good. The gift I gave you will soon let you experience it, piece by piece. I hope you can still manage to smile by then. In the days following the ceremony, I strictly adhered to the persona of someone who had suffered a great loss of vitality, took leave from work, and stayed at home to rest and recuperate. Su Wanwan called at least 3 times a day, offering warm and caring words, her tone so cheerful it almost overflowed through the receiver. Yo-yo, are you feeling better now? Still dizzy? I've made some bird's nest soup for you. I'll bring it over in a bit. Okay, no need to trouble yourself. Wanwan, I'll be fine after some rest. My voice was weak, carrying just the right amount of exhaustion. How can that be? It's all because of me, by the way. Yo-yo, she changed the subject, lowering her voice with barely contained excitement. Ajia actually messaged me on his own last night, even though it was just to ask what I was up to. It's the first time since we broke up. The master was right after all. I rolled my eyes at the ceiling, but my tone was filled with relief. Really, that's wonderful. It seems the ritual really worked. You should make the most of it. I will. Yuyu, you're truly my lucky star. She began thanking me profusely again. After hanging up, I opened the phone surveillance app. I had secretly installed hidden cameras at home after being reborn. Su Wanwan hadn't come to deliver the bird's nest. She was happily taking selfies at an expensive dessert shop downtown, looking radiant in the photos with a sweet smile. She quickly posted them on her social media with the caption, "The dark clouds have cleared, and the sun is shining just right. Grateful for all the concern, and especially thankful for you who are willing to share your light with me, red heart." Below, a bunch of clueless likes and inquiries followed. Light, I sneered, soon you'll learn that overly intense light can burn. I stopped paying attention to her and focused on my own matters. My parents' accident was the deepest thorn in my heart. after being reborn, I had been investigating in secret. That legal consulting firm connected to Zhou Yu was the breakthrough. Using some methods, I obtained some non-public internal record fragments from the traffic police detachment that handled the accident at the time, combined with the financial anomalies in Zhou Yu's company and the suspicious memos from that law firm. A clear clue emerged. My parents' braking system had undergone a routine inspection at a small repair shop that had private dealings with Zhou Yu 1 week before the accident, and in the accident investigation report, there were several vague and deliberately misleading statements regarding the cause of the brake failure. Not an accident, it was murder, for the old house left by their parents, located in a prime area and slated for demolition, along with their modest savings. Zhou Yu, Su Wanwan, the legal fixer who helped them tidy up loose ends, and even the auto repair shop owner, none of them will get away. But I didn't act immediately. The evidence wasn't solid enough. The strike had to be fatal. Moreover, I had to wait for the backlash to begin on Su Wanwan. The backlash came faster than I had imagined, and it was a bit unexpected. About a week after the ceremony, the tone of Su Wanwan's social media posts began to shift subtly. There were still the usual elegant afternoon teas, photos of newly purchased bags, and ambiguous screenshots of interactions with Ajia, her ex-boyfriend, but now they were interspersed with occasional complaints. Been having a rough time lately. Why do I keep running into weird clients? My new manicure actually chipped. It hurts my wallet. Insomnia again tonight. Counting sheep until dawn. Any good calming methods to recommend? It started with just small things. I watched with a cold eye. Another week passed, and her complaints escalated. Stepped in dog poop on the way out. Today is not a good day to go out. After 3 months of following up on a deal, it was snatched by a competitor right before signing. I'm so angry I could cry. Ajia suddenly turned cold again, taking forever to reply to messages. Did I do something wrong? Crying face, under that stealing the deal post. A mutual friend commented, Wan, is the boss of that competitor's company surnamed Zhou. Seems like the impressive Mr. Zhou you mentioned before. Su Wan replied with an awkward smiley face and didn't say much more. Surnamed Zhou Yu. My spirits lifted. Could the first visible effect of the backlash be that she's starting to jinx the men close to her or connected by interests, especially those who are fated with misfortune or have ill intentions? I immediately started investigating the company that snatched Su Wanwan's deal. The boss is indeed surnamed Zhou, named Zhou Wei, and there is no obvious connection with Zhou Yu on the surface. However, upon digging deeper, I discovered that Zhou Wei is a distant cousin of Zhou Yu, and the two have private financial dealings. Moreover, Zhou Wei's company is one of the potential subcontractors for the major government project that Zhou Yu is currently vying for. Interesting. It seems that the bit of prosperity energy that Su Wanwan transferred from me, which carries impurities, has started to attack indiscriminately. First, it made her own boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, flip-flop repeatedly, and now it's affecting Zhou Yu's interests. This is just the beginning. In the following days, Su Wanwan's social media feed became a live broadcast of a major Mercury retrograde event. My phone fell into the toilet. My ride was cancelled repeatedly. The ceiling in my rented apartment leaked. I almost got the wrong prescription for a minor cold at the hospital. Even while walking, I was precisely hit by bird droppings. She began to frequent Jia Doran's place for resolution, and her social media feed would occasionally feature a corner of the dimly lit studio with an incense burner, captioned, "Grateful for the master's guidance." But clearly, it wasn't helping. Her condition visibly deteriorated, and even her carefully curated selfies couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes or the anxiety etched between her brows. Meanwhile, things seemed to be taking a turn for the worse for Zhou Yu as well. Through a special channel, I learned that the major project his company had been so confident about was suddenly exposed by a competitor for alleged qualification fraud and misconduct just before the final review. Despite Zhou Yu's efforts to distance himself from the allegations, the review process was indefinitely suspended. His company's stock price began to fluctuate, and several previously committed investors started to waver in their support. Zhou Yu was probably getting anxious and started contacting Su Wanwan more frequently. I intercepted their phone calls. Yes, I tampered with a calming, scented candle I gave to Su Wanwan, and the content was becoming increasingly explicit. Zhou Yu, Wanwan, what did the master say? Did Lin Yu not clean up properly? Why do I feel like everything has been going wrong lately? Su Wanwan, with a tearful voice, I don't know either. brother you, the master said the ritual was very successful, and my luck is indeed improving, but these misfortunes keep happening endlessly. The master said it might be because my own foundation is too weak to handle the sudden, great fortune, causing a rejection reaction that needs time to adjust. Zhou impatiently, how long will it take to adjust? I can't wait. That project fell through, and the company suffered huge losses. Ask the master again if there's a way to speed it up, or, can we get something more fundamental from Lin Yu, like, combining her birth date and time with something more direct to create a luck anchor. A luck anchor, I've heard Jia Daoran mention it in passing. It's an even more malicious method, said to require personal items, hair, blood, or even nails from a close relative or someone deeply hated, combined with their birth date and time, buried in a specific, unlucky position, to completely nail down and transfer the other person's fortune. The backlash is immense. And the practitioner might also suffer. They're actually this greedy and vicious. They want to completely drain me dry and even nail my soul to death. Su Wanwan seemed frightened. Brother you, this is too cruel, isn't it? After all, Yu is, after all what? Zhou Yu's tone was icy. Wanwan, don't forget, without me, would you be where you are today? Who paid for your mother's medical bills? Who bought you those designer bags? At this point, don't think you can just walk away clean. Either keep going, or, you know the consequences. Su Wanwan fell silent, leaving only the faint sound of sobbing. I turned off the listening device, my fingers icy cold. Good, very good, dogs biting dogs, both ending up with a mouthful of fur. Zhou Yu's urgency and greed, Su Wanwan's fear and indecision. This was exactly what I wanted. I decided to add more fuel to the fire. I had been sick for so long. It was time to recover. I invited Su Wanwan out for a meal, choosing a restaurant with a nice ambience. When she saw me, Su Wanwan was clearly startled. During this time, I had deliberately eaten light, gotten plenty of sleep, and even practiced some yoga. My complexion was noticeably better than before, my eyes clear and bright, even giving off a subtle sense of renewal. You look so much better. Su Wanwan held my hand, her expression complex. There was concern, but more than that, a flicker of uncertainty. According to her and Jia Daoran's theory, I had transferred so much of my foundation to her that I should have been severely weakened and listless. So why did I seem to be glowing with health instead? Yes, after lying down for so long, I've had time to think things through. I poured her tea, my tone relaxed. Maybe I've finally let go of some obsessions. I feel lighter, both in body and mind. Wanwan, what about you? How have you been lately? Have you made up with Ajay? Su Wanwan's smile froze on her face, and her eyes instantly reddened again. Don't even mention it. He's hot and cold, and I have no idea what he's thinking. Work isn't going well either. I keep making mistakes. Yu, do you think there might be something wrong with the ritual? I feel like my luck is getting worse and worse. How could that be? I feigned surprise. Didn't the master say it was a great success? Maybe you're just under too much pressure, or could it be something else? I hesitated, leaving my words hanging. What other reason, Su Wanwan asked nervously. I lowered my voice and leaned closer to her. I've been looking into some metaphysical things lately in my spare time. I came across a theory that says when it comes to transferring luck, if the recipient's fate isn't strong enough, or if there's a more powerful, negative energy interference around them, not only might they fail to receive the good fortune, but it could also backfire and amplify their original bad luck. Negative energy interference. Su Wanwan's face turned pale. What kind of negative energy? For example, my gaze drifted subtly toward the new, expensive diamond necklace around her neck, likely a gift from Zhou Yu, hinting at something deeper, an overly eager, impure external force, getting involved. Or perhaps, the recipient has a guilty conscience. If someone has done something wrong, even the best luck won't be enough to suppress it. Su Wanwan's hand trembled violently, causing the tea to spill. She flusteredly wiped it up. Not daring to meet my eyes, I knew the seed had been planted. Once the seed of doubt is sown, it will grow wildly, nourished by fear and selfishness. After the meal, I casually mentioned that the house my parents left in my hometown seemed to be slated for demolition, and I heard the compensation would be quite substantial. I planned to go back and handle it in a while. Su Wanwan's eyes suddenly lit up, but quickly dimmed again as she forced a smile. That's great, you finally turned your hardships into sweetness. Bitter ends lead to sweet beginnings. I watched her retreating figure and sneered inwardly, my sweet is yet to come, and your bitter has only just begun. A few days later, through some channels, I accidentally let Su Wanwan discover that Zhou Yu had recently been in contact with another woman, whose well-off family background might be helpful for his project. At the same time, I also let Zhou Yu coincidentally learn that Su Wanwan had privately sought out Jia Daoran again, inquiring about backlash and luck transfer stakes, with words full of resentment and fear toward him. Cracks often start to break from within. Like a calm hunter, I set the traps and then retreated into the shadows, watching the prey, driven by panic, suspicion, and greed, step by step move toward the end I had chosen for them. And my ultimate revenge is not just to make them suffer, to lose their wealth and love. I will uncover the truth of their murder of my parents and bring them to justice. I will make them watch, at the peak of their confidence and when they think they control everything, as everything they possess, along with their filthy souls, plunges into the abyss of eternal damnation. Soon, the increasingly obvious backlash on Su Wanwan and the growing troubles for Zhou Yu are the prelude to this grand drama reaching its climax. Once a crack appears, it spreads at an astonishing speed. The information I accidentally leaked to Su Wanwan and Zhou Yu was like two precisely delivered poisonous mushroom spores, quickly taking root, spreading, and releasing deadly toxins in the soil of their respective suspicions and anxieties. Su Wanwan began to harass Jia Daoran even more frequently, her tone shifting from initial devout pleas to panicked questioning and veiled threats. Master, the talisman you gave me is completely useless. I was almost hit by a flower pot falling from upstairs yesterday, and now, a Jia won't even talk to me. Didn't you say that if the ritual succeeded, everything would go smoothly for me, Master Jia? I've been plagued by bad luck lately, and the company is about to sideline me. Did you not handle things properly? What's going on with Lin Yuyu? Why does she seem completely unaffected? I'm telling you, I paid a hefty price for this. If there's no effect soon, I'll report you for engaging in feudal superstition and fraud. Jia Daoran was overwhelmed on all fronts. On one hand, he had to deal with Su Wanwan's pressing questions. On the other, it seemed Zhou Yu was putting even more pressure on him, demanding that he come up with a more effective solution as soon as possible, like that malicious, luck-shifting stake. As for me, I seized the perfect opportunity to bump into Su Wanwan again. This time, it was outside a psychological clinic. She had finally caved under the pressure and sought help from a therapist. I pretended to have just finished a session, wearing an expression of just the right mix of melancholy and relief. Wanwan, what are you doing here? I asked, feigning surprise. Su Wanwan saw me, her eyes darting away as she stammered, I'm here to meet a friend. I'm here for psychological counseling, I said calmly, sighing. I used to feel this heavy weight on me, as if I were carrying something invisible. I kept having nightmares, dreaming about some unpleasant things. The doctor said it might be due to long-term stress, causing somatic symptoms and a slight sense of persecution, but after a few counseling sessions recently, I feel much better, and that heavy feeling has lightened. With every word I spoke, Su Wanwan's face grew paler. Heavy feeling, invisible thing, persecution, these words pierced her sensitive and guilty nerves like needles. Is that so? Her voice was dry. That's good then, Wanwan. I looked at her with concern. You look so pale. Have you been too tired lately? I've heard excessive superstition can sometimes create psychological suggestions and increase anxiety. Do you want to go see someone too? Just think of it as a place to talk. Su Wanwan shook her head violently, as if she had been scalded. No, there's no need, I'm fine. She hurriedly said goodbye and almost fled in panic. I knew that the string in her heart was already stretched to its limit. Doubts about the ritual's effectiveness, fear of Zhou Yu, the inability to understand her own bad luck, combined with my well-timed psychological suggestion, were enough to throw her into complete disarray. Sure enough, within a couple of days, I intercepted a heated argument between her and Jia Daoran. Su Wanwan was hysterical. I don't care, you have to fix this for me. Zhou Yu is pressuring me, I'm going crazy. Aren't you supposed to be a master? Can't even handle Lin Yuyu. Why is she getting better and better? Did you even use the things I gave you correctly? Or maybe, you're in cahoots with her, scamming me out of my money. Jia Daoran also lost his temper. Miss Su, show some respect. I performed the ritual, you watched me draw the talisman, and you provided the blood. If it didn't work, it's because your own fate can't bear it, or your heart isn't sincere. what does that have to do with me? If you keep making trouble, don't blame me for exposing your dirty secrets, you and that Mr. Zhou. Do you think I don't know about the shady things you've been up to?" Both ends of the phone fell silent, leaving only heavy breathing. Two people holding each other's secrets had reached a strange balance in the face of fear and self-interest. "Then, what do we do now?" Su Ruanwan's voice was choked with tears and despair. Jia Daoran fell silent for a moment, then said in a sinister tone, "The luck-shifting stake that Mr. Zhou mentioned might be worth a try, but it requires something more fundamental, and the risks are greater. You need to think it through." What is more fundamental?" Su Ruanwan asked, trembling. "Preferably, the blood and bones of a close relative, or an item that has been worn for a long time, carrying a strong personal aura, or even resentment." Jia Doran's voice was like a venomous snake hissing. "Bone and blood, long-term wearing, resentment. Among the relics left by my parents, there are indeed a few old items they wore for many years, but would Zhou Yu and Su Ruanwan dare to touch them?" Just then, Zhou Yu's side seemed unable to hold back any longer. He probably felt that relying on Su Ruanwan and that unreliable charlatan was too inefficient, so he decided to step in personally, or rather, use more realistic means to deal with me. This obstacle, I received a call from the company's HR department. The tone was polite but cold, saying that I had been on long-term leave, even though I had a sick leave note, and that the position couldn't remain vacant indefinitely. The company had decided to optimize my role and would provide compensation according to labor laws, hoping I would return as soon as possible to complete the resignation procedures. No doubt, Zhou Yu used his connections to apply pressure. He's afraid that I might recover and get in his way, and even more afraid that I might still hold something that could harm him, like suspicions about my parents' accident. Very well, cutting off my financial resources, trying to force me into a corner. Perhaps they even think that once I'm down and out, it will be easier for them to control me, or even seize the house my parents left behind. I played along, pretending to be panicked and desperate, crying over the phone to a few friends, including Su Ruanwan, about the blow of unemployment and my confusion about the future. On the other end of the line, Su Ruanwan offered insincere comfort, but there was a hint of barely noticeable relief and excitement in her tone. She probably thought that the more miserable I was, the more it proved the ritual was effective, that the good luck had simply transferred to her, while I bore the cost. But she rejoiced too soon. I calmly packed up my personal belongings from the company, took the modest compensation, and didn't panic as they had expected. I moved out of the rented apartment and relocated to a cheaper but equally secure neighborhood. Then, I officially began an in-depth investigation into my parents' accident. This time, I was no longer just secretly gathering clues. I found an old traffic police officer who had handled the accident back then. He was now retired, carrying the compiled doubts, brake maintenance records, law firm memos, Zhou Yu's financial irregularities, along with a consultation fee. I knocked on his door. At first, he was impatient and even somewhat guarded, but when I presented the evidence, especially mentioning the small auto repair shop connected to Zhou Yu and hinting that I knew someone had exerted pressure back then, his expression changed. After a long silence, he smoked a cigarette, his cloudy eyes flickering with anger and helplessness. "Young lady, it's been so long since this happened. Stirring things up won't do you any good," he sighed. "It's not for my benefit, but for my deceased parents," I said, looking at him with a determined gaze. "They can't have died under unclear circumstances. I know you have concerns, and I'm not asking you to testify. I just want to know what doubts were overlooked back then. Is there any possibility of reopening the investigation?" The old traffic officer fell silent again for a long time. Finally, he stubbed out his cigarette, went into the inner room, and brought out a yellowed notebook. Flipping to a certain page, he pointed to some messy notes and abbreviations. "All I can tell you is that during the on-site investigation back then, the break in the brake fluid line didn't look like it was caused by natural wear or impact from the accident. It seemed more like it had been deliberately weakened beforehand with some kind of tool, but this detailed report never made it into the official case file. Also, the memory card from your parents' car's dashcam was reported as damaged in the accident, but as far as I know, that model's memory card was quite impact-resistant. Think about it yourself. Who took the card, and why did they insist it was destroyed? The dashcam, the memory card." My heart raced wildly. If the memory card was still around, if it recorded what happened before the accident, or even footage of Zhou Yu or someone he sent tampering with the car, Is there any chance the card might still exist? My voice tightened. The old traffic policeman shook his head. I don't know. The case was quickly closed as an accident back then, and the related evidence was probably disposed of long ago. He paused, lowering his voice. However, the officer in charge of evidence custody back then, Xiao Wang, was later fired for another incident. I heard he hasn't been doing well since, and it seems he might be a bit greedy for money. A new lead, the evidence custodian, greedy for money. I thanked the old traffic policeman, and as I left his home, my palms were drenched in sweat. I had a direction now. As long as I could find that Xiao Wang, use money to pry open his mouth, and get the memory card or concrete information, it would become the key to bringing down Zhou Yu. Just as I was fully focused on tracking down the whereabouts of the memory card, the backlash on Su Wanwan's side finally erupted for the first time in an extremely dramatic manner. The cause was that Zhou Yu, in a desperate attempt to salvage the stranded major project, went all out, using a large amount of funds to grease the wheels and even promising an extremely high profit share. The key intermediary who facilitated the connection was said to be a big shot with a complex background. Zhou Yu had Su Wanwan accompany him, likely intending to use her recently booming luck and sweet appearance to curry favor with that big shot. The drinking session was held at a private club. What exactly happened remains unknown to outsiders. However, I learned from a special source of information that the scene that night was extremely chaotic. The big shot suddenly suffered a food allergy. He was severely allergic to a rare spice, a matter kept extremely confidential, and was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Zhou Yu, while toasting, accidentally spilled wine on another important guest, sparking a conflict, and Su Wanwan, in the chaos, unexpectedly, took a fall, not only spraining her ankle but also having her dress torn, leaving her in a sorry state. More importantly, someone anonymously reported to the Disciplinary Inspection Commission and tax authorities the irregularities and illicit benefits involved in Zhou Yu's company's handling of that project, with detailed evidence. The timing of the report happened to coincide with the chaos of the drinking session that very night. Zhou Yu was quickly taken away for investigation. The company's accounts were frozen, the project was completely scrapped, and he now faces serious legal charges. Su Wanwan, as the companion that evening, was also summoned by the police for questioning. Although she insisted that she knew nothing and was merely accompanying a client for dinner, rumors had already begun to spread. Her reputation as a husband killer and a jinx quickly circulated within her small circle. Her ex-boyfriend, a Jia, who had shown some signs of reconsidering their relationship, completely blocked her this time. Jia Daoran was so frightened that he shut down his studio and fled. Before leaving, whether out of revenge or panic, he sent Su Wanwan a vague text message: "Leave Zhou immediately, the negative energy has backfired, the luck you've been carrying is problematic, and you may face a great calamity." Su Wanwan completely broke down. She called me, her voice hoarse and incoherent. "Yu, save me, Zhou Yu is in trouble, the master has run away, they all deceived me, what should I do? I'm so scared, those misfortunes keep happening, and now even the police are after me." Sob, Is it because of you, because of that ritual?" I held the phone and walked to the window. Outside, the sun was shining brightly. It was a beautiful day. "Wanwan," my voice was calm, even tinged with a hint of pity. "What are you talking about? Didn't the ritual help change your luck? Zhou Yu's trouble is his own fault for breaking the law and violating discipline. What does it have to do with you? As for bad luck, aren't you overthinking it? I've said it before, if you have a guilty conscience, even the best luck can't hold it back." "No, that's not it," Su Wanwan screamed. "There must be something wrong. The ritual is flawed. The luck you gave me is flawed. Yu, tell me, what exactly did you give me? Say something." "I gave you my most sincere blessings, Wanwan," I said softly, then hung up the phone and promptly blocked all her contact information. "My blessing, you better keep it well. This is just the appetizer. Zhou Yu is in prison, and Su Wanwan is disgraced, living in constant fear, but for me, it's not enough. The blood debt of my parents has yet to be repaid. That possible dashcam memory card has not been found yet." I turned on my computer and looked at the blurry photo of Xiao Wang, the former evidence custodian, and the latest address information on the screen. Next, it's time to go find him. The game is far from over. Finding the former evidence custodian, Xiao Wang, went more smoothly than expected. His real name is Wang Yong, and he now works as a security guard at an auto repair center. He has a gambling addiction, is deeply in debt, and looks haggard with dark circles under his eyes. I didn't reveal my true intentions directly. Instead, I disguised myself as a private detective looking to dig up dirt on a competitor, a role not uncommon around the auto repair district, and invited him for a drink. We chatted casually, gradually steering the conversation toward that traffic accident from a few years ago. Brother Wang, I heard you used to work in the traffic police department. Do you have any interesting stories saved up? I handed him a good cigarette and lowered my voice. Wang Yong gave me a wary glance, but the greed in his eyes outweighed the caution. Why are you asking about that? It's ancient history from years ago. A client is interested in that couple who had the accident back then, especially the stuff in their car, I hinted meaningfully, sliding a thick envelope toward him. Wang Yong's fingers brushed over the envelope, its thickness making his Adam's apple bob. He glanced around, leaned in closer, and the smell of alcohol wafted over me. That matter, there's a bit to it, but the stuff is long gone, destroyed according to regulations. Really destroyed. I stared into his eyes. I heard the memory card from that dashcam was pretty tough, and some things, if you keep them, might just buy you a few drinks someday, right, Brother Wang? Wang Yong's expression changed, his eyes flickering. What exactly do you know? I know someone doesn't want the contents of that card to see the light of day. I slowed my tone. I also know, Brother Wang, you're short on cash right now. How about this? You tell me where the card is, or a copy, this much. I gestured with my hand, 3 times the amount in the envelope. A powerful temptation and long-suppressed fear intertwined on Wang Yong's face. He took a big gulp of wine, panting heavily. The card was taken away back then. It wasn't handled by me. Someone from above came directly to retrieve it, saying it was needed for technical analysis. But I kept my wits about me. Before the card was taken, I secretly made a copy onto a USB drive. Originally, I thought, just in case. He didn't finish, but I understood. Keeping a backup, either out of fear of taking the blame or as leverage for blackmail. Where's the USB drive? My heart was pounding wildly. Sold it a long time ago. Wang Yong slammed the table in frustration. I lost a bet a couple of years ago and needed money urgently, so I sold it to a second-hand dealer. I think he ran a computer repair shop. Another dead end. No, there's still a lead. Which repair shop? Roughly when? What did the USB drive look like? I fired off a series of questions. Wang Yong tried hard to recall and gave me a rough address range and time, along with a description of the USB drive. A very ordinary black metal USB drive with a faded internal traffic police label attached, bearing a blurry accident number and date. I immediately got up and, based on the vague information Wang Yong provided, began a needle in a haystack search in that area. I went from one computer repair shop to another, from one second-hand electronics stall to the next, describing the characteristics of the USB drive and asking if they had received it a few years ago. The process was tedious and full of uncertainty. 3 days passed with no results. Just as I was almost ready to give up and consider other approaches, the owner of an old, small repair shop tucked deep in an alley, after listening to my description, pushed up his reading glasses. A black metal USB drive with a traffic police label. I think I have some impression. It was several years ago, right? A desperate gambler brought it in to sell, saying it was scrapped from his workplace. I thought it looked decent, so I bought it for a few dollars. The owner spoke slowly. But with that kind of official label, I usually don't dare keep it. I removed the chip and sold the casing as scrap plastic. The data inside, who knows what it was. It might have been cleared during formatting. My heart sank. Dismantled. Cleared out. What about the chip? Is it still there? I asked without much hope. The boss thought for a moment, then turned around and rummaged through the mountain of scrap parts piled behind him, muttering, seems like I didn't throw it away. Some of the chips I removed. The ones in good condition, I kept them. You never know when they might come in handy for repairing old machines. Time ticked by, dust dancing in the dim light. Just as I was about to lose hope, the boss let out a surprised, and pulled out a small chip from the bottom of the box, casually wrapped in an anti-static bag. Is this it? Back then, the main controller chip for that USB drive seemed to be this model, and there was a flash memory chip next to it. Look, they're all in this bag. I took the lightweight anti-static bag, inside of which lay 2 small chips. One of them was a flash memory chip, likely storing the crucial data from back then. But is the data still there? Is the chip damaged? Boss, this chip, can I buy it? Also, can you try to read the data here? Money is no issue. I said urgently. The boss looked at me, then at the chip, probably thinking that this old thing could still be exchanged for money. A pretty good deal. Read the data. My old equipment here won't work. You'd need to go to a professional data recovery place. You can take the chip. Just give me $100. I immediately paid the money, clutching the anti-static bag tightly, as if holding on to my last hope. Professional data recovery centers charge high fees and offer no guarantee of success. I chose the most reputable one, handed over the chip, explained the situation, only mentioning a family accident and wanting to retrieve possible records, and paid a significant upfront fee. Waiting for the results took time. I returned to my temporary residence, exhausted but unable to sleep. The injustice my parents suffered, and the evil deeds of Zhou Yu and Su Wanwan weighed on my heart like two heavy stones. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. When I answered, I heard Su Wanwan's hoarse, frantic voice. Somehow, she had managed to get my new number again. Lin. Yu, I know it was you who did this. What bullshit ritual. It's all your fault. I hope you die a horrible death. Zhou Yu has been arrested, and I've lost everything. It's all because of you. Give me back my luck, otherwise, I'll haunt you even as a ghost. She cursed, cried, and threatened incoherently. I listened quietly, waiting for her to vent before speaking coldly. Su Wanwan, you've got the wrong person. What harmed you was your own greed and foolishness. What you borrowed was never good luck. It was your and Zhou Yu's malicious intentions that attracted something you couldn't handle. You brought this upon yourselves. Understand? You're talking nonsense. It was you. You have a fate that harms others. You brought misfortune to your parents, and now you're harming me. I'm going to call the police. I'll sue you for harming people with feudal superstition. She screamed hysterically. Call the police? Good, I smiled. Actually, I'd also like to ask the police why the brake lines of my parents' car were tampered with just before their accident years ago. Why did Zhou Yu's account receive a suspicious sum of money afterward, and you, Su Wanwan, as Zhou Yu's accomplice, not only failed to report it but even helped cover it up? What crime should that be? There was a deathly silence on the other end of the phone, broken only by Su Wanwan's heavy, terrified gasps. You know, how could you? Her voice trembled uncontrollably. If you don't want others to know, don't do it in the first place, I said coldly. Su Wanwan, your retribution has only just begun. Enjoy it. I hung up the phone and blocked the number again. I knew the venomous snake of fear had already sunk its fangs deep into her heart. She was finished. A few days later, the Data Recovery Center called, their tone excited. Lin, we have good news. Part of the data on the chip has been recovered. There is indeed a dashcam video file, although it's somewhat damaged. The crucial parts are still viewable. I rushed over almost as fast as I could. On the Recovery Center's computer, I saw that piece of footage, sealed away for years. The footage was a bit shaky, the colors distorted, but it was clear enough. It was the interior view from my father's car. The timestamp showed the evening of the day of the accident. The car was driving on a familiar suburban road. Suddenly, my mother in the passenger seat pointed ahead and said something. Audio corrupted, unclear. My father seemed to slow down slightly. Immediately after, the image shook violently, accompanied by the screech of brakes and the deafening sound of metal twisting, followed by static and darkness. In the final moment of violent shaking, at the edge of the frame, it seemed to briefly capture a partial view of a black sedan ahead, and a quick, blurry motion of something being thrown from the black sedan's window, like a small tool, and on my father's car's dashboard. The brake warning light was already illuminated before the violent shaking began. Can you zoom in and process that black car and the moment something was thrown? My voice trembled. The technician worked on it, and the footage was zoomed in, denoised, and sharpened. Although still blurry, the model of the black car, a relatively common model at the time, and a somewhat unclear but recognizable license plate ending were visible. More importantly, the object that was thrown, when magnified, faintly revealed the outline of a small pipe wrench. And back then, Zhou Yu happened to own an identical black car. As for the pipe wrench, that small repair shop Zhou Yu had dealings with was never short of all kinds of tools, ironclad evidence. While it wasn't enough to directly pinpoint Zhou Yu, it was sufficient to be the sharp blade that pierced through the window paper, combined with the old traffic officer's mention of the artificially weakened brake fluid line and Wang Yang's testimony. The USB drive was taken away by higher-ups. A clear chain of evidence emerged. Zhou Yu, or someone he directed, used a pipe wrench to pre-damage the brake fluid line, creating the illusion of an accident, and afterward, through connections, took away the dashcam memory card that might have recorded the anomaly in an attempt to destroy the evidence. I copied all the recovered data and the repaired video clips, and immediately contacted a lawyer I had previously been in touch with, one known for his integrity and outspokenness. At the same time, I compiled all the materials I had organized, including the videos, the key points of the old traffic police officer's testimony, anonymized, Wang Yong's testimony about the improper removal of the USB drive, Zhou Yu's financial irregularities, and the evidence linking him to the auto repair shop, into a detailed report. I then sent it to the City Procuratorate, the Disciplinary Inspection Commission, and the Supervisory Department of the higher-level Public Security Authority. This time, I did not remain anonymous. In the section for the informant, I solemnly signed my own name, Lin Yuyu. After completing all of this, I walked out of the law firm. The setting sun was as red as blood, staining half the sky crimson. I knew that the storm was about to truly descend. The network of connections behind Zhou Yu might retaliate, Su Wanwan might become desperate and lash out, and even the fugitive Jia Daoran could be dragged into the fray. But I am not afraid anymore. The blood debt of my parents, I will personally settle. The stolen life, I have reclaimed. As for the ridiculous backlash on Su Wanwan, it is merely a trivial interest on my path of revenge. I took out my phone and sent a text message to Su Wanwan's last number, with only one sentence: "The day has dawned, time for a reckoning." Then, I walked towards the location designated by the police, facing the setting sun, ready to cooperate with the subsequent investigation. My battle may be nearing its end, but their hell has just begun. The words, "Good news," from the Data Recovery Center were like a bolt of lightning tearing through the long, dark night. I stared at the screen. The restored footage was still rough, yet undeniably damning: the license plate number of the black sedan, the blurred outline of the pipe wrench being thrown. After a moment of dead silence, my heart began to pound violently, not with fear, but with the cold, trembling anticipation of a final judgment day that had finally arrived. As I stepped out of the recovery center, the sunset was at its peak, staining the sky with a bloody hue. I mentally arranged and reinforced all the evidence: the restored video, the anonymous testimony of the old traffic officer, Wang Yong's recording, Zhou Yu's financial records, and the subtle traces of dealings with the auto repair shop, forming a cold, logical chain. This time, without a moment of hesitation, I walked straight into the office of the lawyer known for his stern demeanor, Mr. Qin. He wasn't anyone I had consulted before. He was the only lawyer I had secretly observed and selected over a long period. The only one willing to take on such a tough case that might involve local networks of influence. I pushed the thick stack of materials toward him, my voice surprisingly calm. "Attorney Qin, I want to file a real name report. The evidence is here, and the informant is Lin Yuyu." Attorney Qin adjusted his glasses, quickly flipping through the pages, his expression shifting from serious to grave. Finally settling on the throwing motion in the video footage, he looked up at me, his gaze sharp. "Do you know what this means? Once it starts, there's no turning back. The other side might use every means to retaliate: slander, threats, even more despicable tactics. My way out was cut off 6 years ago." I met his gaze. "They used my parents' lives to block every path I had. Now, it's my turn to open a path for them, a path to the truth and to justice." Lawyer Qin fell silent for a moment, then nodded firmly. "Understood. This material needs to be framed in more precise legal language, and the chain of evidence must be airtight. The Procuratorate, the Disciplinary Commission, the higher-level Police Supervision Department, I'll find the right entry point and submit it to all of them simultaneously. But before that," he paused, "you need to be fully prepared. They'll know it was you very soon. I'm waiting." I even managed a faint smile. The storm arrived faster than expected. 48 hours after the real name report materials were submitted, my phone began to be bombarded by various unknown numbers. When I answered, there were silent threats or disguised voices warning: "Little girl, some things are better left untouched. Be careful not to get burned. Your parents' deaths were an accident. Don't go looking for trouble yourself." I calmly recorded the audio and forwarded it to Lawyer Qin. Meanwhile, negative posts about me began to appear sporadically online, accusing me of being mentally unstable, falsely accusing my ex-boyfriend out of spite, and trying to extort money through hype. The traces of hired trolls were obvious, but the malicious words still stung. Su Wanwan seemed to have found her final outlet for venting. Using a long-abandoned social media account, she posted a hysterical video. Gaunt-faced with sunken eyes, she looked like a genuine madwoman. crying and shouting at the camera, "It's her, Lin Yu, that witch, she used dark magic, she stole my luck and harmed Zhou Yu. Police, you need to investigate her, she's a murderer." The video was quickly taken down by the platform for violating guidelines, but the frenzied image and accusations still stirred up murky ripples within a small circle. Lawyer Qin acted swiftly. Not only did he submit the materials through multiple channels, but he also proactively contacted several reputable investigative media outlets, providing them with clues that, while not revealing core secrets, were enough to capture public attention. Soon, an in-depth report titled "6-Year-Old Car Crash Mystery Resurfaces, Accident or Foul Play, Key Dashcam Evidence Mysteriously Disappears and Reappears" was quietly published. Though it didn't name names, the outline it sketched was enough to send shivers down the spines of those in the know. Pressure began to shift in the opposite direction. The news of Zhou Yu's formal arrest was announced one early morning. The charges were suspicion of intentional homicide, attempted resulting in death, destruction of evidence, and bribery. The wording of the announcement was precise, yet it carried immense weight. He was directly transferred from administrative detention to criminal detention, and his place of confinement was also changed. That afternoon, I received a formal summons from the Special Investigation Team, requiring me to cooperate with the investigation. When I walked into the solemn interrogation room at the Municipal Public Security Bureau, I saw that the people sitting across from me were no longer the officers from the local police station but several unfamiliar, more authoritative faces. The questioning lasted the entire afternoon. I recounted everything I knew, from the anomalies after my parents' accident, to the changes in Zhou Yu and Su Wanwan's relationship, to my investigations over the years, discovering the brake line issue, finding the retired traffic officer, tracking down the dashcam USB drive, and finally recovering the data. Each step was supported by corresponding evidence or witness leads. I didn't mention metaphysics or the concept of borrowing luck. I only spoke of facts that the law and evidence could touch upon. The young female officer responsible for recording occasionally looked up at me, her gaze complex, a mix of concern and an almost unbelievable shock. Before the questioning ended, the lead investigator, an older police officer with graying temples, closed the notebook and looked at me, asking one final question, "Lin Yu, how have you managed these past 6 years?" I remained silent for a few seconds. The last rays of the setting sun outside the window happened to fall on the back of my hand, warm, by holding on to the words. "I can't just let it go." "I survived," I said. He looked at me deeply, then nodded. "You may go, keep your communication channels open, we may need your cooperation later." Leaving the Municipal Bureau building, the sky was caught in that ambiguous twilight between day and night. Lawyer Qin's call came through. "Initial feedback is positive. The chain of evidence you provided, especially the recovered video and related evidence, played a crucial role. Zhou Yu is starting to crack under pressure." Additionally, that higher-up, who illegally removed and attempted to destroy evidence back then, has already been taken in for questioning by the Disciplinary Commission. Pulling up one radish brings up the mud. This time, the fallout won't be small. "What about Su Wanwan?" I asked her. Lawyer Qin's tone carried a hint of cold mockery. "Suspected of harboring a criminal, giving false testimony, and possibly even participating in some of the planning. The police have formally opened an investigation into her. Moreover, based on the financial transactions we've uncovered between her and Zhou Yu, along with several questionable funds, she's in for a tough time. Her erratic behavior might not necessarily help her escape guilt in a forensic psychiatric evaluation." Hanging up the phone, I walked alone on the street as the city lights began to glow. The urban clamor persisted, yet it felt as if it were separated by a transparent barrier. The blade of hatred, tempered by 6 years of venomous fire, had finally been thrust into the enemy's heart, but instead of the anticipated ecstasy, there was only a vast, roaring emptiness, and deep within the exhaustion, a faint, seeping ache. I returned to my small rented room. On the table, the portrait of my parents had been carefully wiped clean again, looking warm under the desk lamp. I lit 3 slender incense sticks, and a wisp of smoke curled gently upward. "Dad, Mom," I whispered, "I'm almost at the end of this road. Those who harmed you won't get away with it." The incense ash fell silently. The following month saw the slow but steady progress of the judicial process. Zhou Yu's case moved relatively quickly due to the solid evidence. Faced with irrefutable video evidence, Wang Yang's testimony, and the subsequent discovery of financial transactions between him and the auto repair shop, his psychological defenses crumbled. He confessed that, Driven by greed for a critical business opportunity my family was negotiating at the time, I later learned from lawyer Chin that my parents were about to sign a major project that would have elevated our family business to new heights, and with Su Wanwan's instigation and provision of specific information, Su Wanwan had tricked me into revealing my parents' itinerary for that day. He conspired with a trusted accomplice at the auto repair shop to sabotage the brake lines of my parents' vehicle in advance, creating the illusion of an accident. Afterward, he used a distant relative working in the traffic police department, the so-called person above, to illegally retrieve and destroy the dashcam's memory card, believing he had covered all his tracks. Little did he expect that Wang Yong had secretly kept a backup, and even less did he anticipate that this backup would eventually find its way into my hands and be successfully recovered. 6 years later, Su Wanwan consistently insisted that she was merely guessing and heard it from Zhou Yu, attempting to shift the blame for the mastermind entirely onto Zhou Yu. However, based on communication records, fund flows, her active efforts to conceal the truth earlier, and her later attempts to trade luck with me, the police determined that she was at least a key accomplice and participant. Her mental state evaluation concluded that she had certain histrionic personality tendencies but possessed full criminal responsibility at the time of the crime, and currently, the absconding Jia Daoran was also listed as a fugitive, charged with using superstition to commit fraud and conspiring with Su Wanwan to infringe upon my rights. Although borrowing luck cannot be criminalized, fraud and deceptive means can. On the day of the trial, I went, sitting in the plaintiff's seat for the criminal case with civil compensation. I looked at Zhou Yu in the defendant's seat, wearing prison clothes and looking defeated, and Su Wanwan, whose eyes were evasive and trembling uncontrollably. My heart felt utterly indifferent. Their defense lawyer was still making a final, feeble attempt, questioning the reliability of the video evidence recovery technology and the authenticity of Wang Yong's testimony. It wasn't until the prosecutor played the restored key video clip in court and presented the comparison report of Zhou Yu's vehicle from that year, along with the investigation results on the source of the pipe wrench tools, that Zhou Yu finally lowered his head, his shoulders slumping. Su Wanwan let out a short, choked sob, like the mournful cry of an animal in its final moments. The judge's gavel fell with a crisp sound. The verdict: Zhou Yu, convicted of intentional homicide, with cruel methods and severe consequences, destruction of evidence, bribery, and other charges, was sentenced to life imprisonment and deprived of political rights for life. Su Wanwan, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The higher-ups in the traffic police department and the accomplices at the auto repair shop also received their due punishments. In the civil part of the case, Zhou Yu and Su Wanwan were ordered to jointly compensate me for various losses. Though I knew they were unlikely to pay much, the significance of the ruling was what mattered. Stepping out of the courtroom, the sunlight was a bit harsh. Attorney Chin patted my shoulder and said, "It's over, the law has given you, and your parents, an answer." I nodded and said, "Thank you, Attorney Chin. What are your plans next?" he asked. I looked up at the vast sky, where a flock of pigeons flew by, their whistles long and lingering. First, get a good night's sleep, then, I paused, go see my parents and tell them this outcome in person. The day I went to the cemetery was a clear autumn day. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the leaves were golden. I lit a copy of the verdict in front of my parents' tombstones. The pages curled and blackened in the flames, turning into thin ashes that scattered with the wind, as if the heavy guilt and pain were also carried away by the clean autumn breeze into nothingness. Dad, Mom, rest in peace. I stroked the cold stone, where my parents' names remained clear. Your daughter will live well from now on. I will live cleanly and honorably, carrying the love and courage you gave me. I didn't cry over these 6 years. My tears had long since dried up or turned into the fire that tempered the blade. At this moment, there was only peace, a deep, unfathomable peace, and beneath that peace, a new strength quietly stirring. As I was leaving the cemetery, I ran into an unexpected person at the gate, the old detective who had once given me his business card. He seemed to have been waiting there on purpose. "Kid, I know the outcome," he said, his tone much gentler. "You did well, better than your parents. They were too soft-hearted, too trusting." I nodded slightly. "Thank you for the warning back then." "It wasn't a warning, I just thought you were a kid with fire in your eyes and a scale in your heart." He looked at me, then pulled a small box from his pocket and handed it to me. "Your father left this with me a long time ago, an old seal, not worth much, but it's carved with your childhood nickname, returning it to its rightful owner." I took the small wooden box, opened it, and inside was a small Shoshan stone seal, carved with the simple and childlike characters, Yu. The moment my fingertips touched it, a distant warmth, belonging to my father, seemed to pierce through time and settle in my heart. Thank you. This time, my voice was choked with emotion. The old detective waved his hand, turned, and walked away, his figure blending into the autumn sunlight. I gripped the seal tightly, feeling the gentle warmth of the stone. The flames of hatred had burned for 6 years, finally consuming the evil and forging a new me. I was no longer the girl trembling in the shadow of fate, nor the avenger who could only rely on unconventional means to fight back. I am Lin Yu, the one who clears my parents' name, the one who reclaims my own destiny. What will the future hold? I don't know, but I know that from now on, with every step, I will walk in the light. I turn around, my back to the cemetery that buries my pain, and walk steadily toward the open road leading out of the mountains. The wind rustles through the treetops, whispering softly, as if bidding me farewell. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.